Good evening, you sick individual who's most likely procrastinating from doing something actually productive right now, and instead you're going to be watching this 2 to 3 hour video whilst you, I don't know, clean the dishes, do something which human beings like to do, which in this case is watch a YouTube video which doesn't impact your life in any shape or way or form. But either way, welcome back. Let's get into things. 2020. Yes, the worst year on planet... Okay, there's probably some worse years out there, but 2020 was a very bad year, especially for YouTubers. In 2020, multiple content creators like Jeffree Star, Shane Dawson, James Charles, please keep your cats away from these people. Well, one person. These people faced a lot of controversy. There are 3 content creators here who never seem to recover from the situations and controversies and exposés that they were involved in that year. As somebody that makes analytical commentary videos for a living, well, it's never a good thing to say out loud, but as somebody that does that, I usually notice with a situation where somebody gets cancelled as, yeah, it blows up, somebody gets in a lot of drama, they probably put out a terrible apology video, and then they eventually move away from that controversy. But with 2020, it was a very different year. With the content creators that I just mentioned, they seem to have a permanently stained reputation from everything that happened that year, and the same can be said for a lot of other content creators that were exposed that year. It seemed that pretty much everybody that faced controversy in 2020 never really recovered from it, except for one. Because in a deep dark land of Mordor, there was a certain content creator which was... Well, I'd say they were like brewing up a masterclass of an apology, a masterclass of response to get out of the controversy and drama, but the reality is this person was like an anomaly, and I'm really proud that I actually managed to pronounce that word correctly. I usually struggle at speaking the English language, but this person that we're going to be discussing in this historic, long, massive story today was somebody that somehow managed to recover from, honestly, in my opinion, one of the more terrible situations involving a content creator and their fans. And usually when you hear the phrase content creator, controversy, and fans, it can lead you to a pathway of thinking, oh, something extremely dodgy is going to happen here. And, well, in this situation, you'd be exactly correct saying that.
We walked up, and whenever I was hugging her, she said, "I'm so sorry I didn't bring your lingerie." Yeah, because in her live stream, she said she wanted to send me her lingerie. I'm not lying, she did. Trust me. She hugged me, and we were talking, and she was like, "I'm so sorry I didn't bring your lingerie." My parents were right behind me, so thanks for that, Colleen. So I did get sent the lingerie, and immediately, whenever it arrived, my parents were furious. They were so angry, and they took it away.
Okay, so I understand that clip without all the context of everything that we're going to be speaking about today. It's quite a lot. As you see here, we have a 13-year-old child speaking about content creator Colleen Ballinger, also known as Miranda Sings. And ladies and gentlemen, I will just preface this by saying this topic and subject, as you can probably tell, is going to get extremely dark, because I feel like a lot of you probably have the understandable question of, why is a 13-year-old being sent underwear by a 30-year-old content creator? Why is that happening? And today, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be exploring all of that, because this is a situation which has been going on for 3+ years at this point. So this video is going to be extremely long. This is a situation of exposés, cancellations, apologies, manipulation, lies, like any other YouTube scenario, but in this case, it is on such a grand scale that it is genuinely shocking, because Colleen Ballinger, Miranda Sings, is somebody that has dominated YouTube for years now, garnering billions of views, millions of followers on every single platform. This is a content creator who for years has been extremely loved throughout the YouTube community, so to find out that there is an extremely dark past behind all of that is naturally going to be shocking to a lot of people. Now, this situation has been going on for longer than 7 years at this point, but in 2020, Colleen Ballinger was exposed for everything that we're going to be speaking about today, but you really wouldn't think that up until a month ago. The fact that there are videos from 3 years ago with millions upon millions of views, where it's an expose speaking about Colleen's inappropriate behavior with fans, or drama videos with millions of views speaking about these things, the fact that these things exist but are never spoken about anymore, but people like Shane Dawson, Jeffree Star, and James Charles are discussed still to this day, genuinely confuses me. Like, honestly, I don't really know what's going on and how this, well, I do know, and that's why I'm here to narrate this entire story today. But let me give you guys a little bit of an understanding of everything that we're going to be going through today. Because yes, Colleen Ballinger recently has been again exposed by multiple fans for her incredibly inappropriate interactions with countless amounts of superfans. From Colleen Ballinger discussing her divorce with children, to allegedly gossiping about other young fans, to sending underwear to fans like I showed you previously, to Colleen asking for pics in fan group chats, asking about people's favourite positions, and asking about periods with fans in group chats. There is a lot to get through in this situation. So if you're watching this video right now thinking, wow, this is a big waffling mess, I can understand, and that's because there is just so many pieces of the puzzle to put together. So what we're going to do from part one in this video, because this isn't actually part one, this is the introduction, is we're going to go through everything chronologically. We're going to kind of tackle each part of the story like it's happening right now. Now, yes, we will jump back and forth throughout a few things to kind of get a few better understandings here and there for you guys personally to understand the situation, but I did this in my Illuminati video where we went through everything chronologically to kind of just give a better understanding and explanation of what is going on here. Because yeah, this is going to be very, 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 very confusing. So I think the best part we can do here is to go straight to the beginning. Okay, sorry, not that beginning. I mean, this part of the beginning. So ladies and gentlemen, imagine it's 2020, in particular, April 2020. Yes, the pandemic is here and it is ruining all of our lives, but not the pandemic that you traditionally think about, but the pandemic of YouTubers that we actually kind of liked at one point being exposed for, well, atrocities. On April the 28th, 2020, Adam Mcintyre uploaded a video titled Colleen Ballinger, Stop Lying. And pretty much this is the beginning of the story. Whilst there are plenty of things that span back years before this is pretty much when the whole topic and situation of Colleen started to get some serious gravitational pull. The video has 1.8 million views, 64,000 likes. This video was going absolutely viral in 2020, but there is one thing to notice here. It obviously has 39,000 dislikes. And now naturally, ladies and gentlemen, when a content creator gets called out, especially a particular popular content creator, you're usually going to get, well, a few people that I like to describe as nut jobs. People who are just insane, pretty much. People that are so dedicated to a content creator that they genuinely believe that they are friends with this person and they are willing to do anything to defend this person. Now, this could possibly spring up some content creators in your mind that we're going to not necessarily name today, but this is an issue that is plaguing YouTube to this day. Content creators that do something bad, get exposed for something bad, but their fans, only a minute amount of fans, but a very vocal amount of fans, simply cannot handle it, so they will do everything they can to defend their beloved content creator. And as you can see here, with 39,000 dislikes, it really was no difference. But this video from Adam pretty much is a detailing of Adam giving his experiences with Colleen Ballinger, because pretty much Adam from the ages of 13 or perhaps even younger was an absolute super fan of Colleen Ballinger, and it even led to him having a lot of interactions with Colleen. But not just that, but even an actual friendship with Colleen, who, may I reiterate, is a 30-year-old woman. Yes, Adam at 13 years old and 14 years old and 15 years old was regularly speaking to Colleen about things such as his divorce, but also a lot of other sus things. Recently, it's gone even further, with screenshots of group chats coming out where people who weren't just Adam, but other fans, were detailing that Colleen was asking them extremely disturbing things such as this, and this. Yes, even asking for, well, for pics in group chats, and this is why recently this situation has absolutely blown up again. And ladies and gentlemen, we will go into absolutely all of that throughout this video, but as I said, we're going to go through everything chronologically today because I think it's a good way to kind of understand literally everything in this situation and why we are at the place we are at in 2023. So yeah, let's get into Adam's video. So in the description of the video, it reads, "This is a video I never thought I would have to make, and my heart breaks making it. My intentions are to tell my side of the story and disassociate myself, as I am seeing online theories about what is happening and what I have or have not done." So I think the only thing we can really do here is actually get into what Adam says in this video, but before we do that, I do want to add for a third time the context of Adam, when he was in this situation that he's speaking about in this video, was 13 years old, and Colleen Ballinger was 30 years old. Hold that context into your mind, and yeah, let's get into this video.
This is a video that I never thought I would ever have to make. My intentions behind doing so are that I can disassociate myself from the situation, but also not continuously get asked in future about Colleen and Corey and what happened. Or also hearing things that apparently came from me but I've never said out of my mouth. The purpose behind doing this video is to get my side across and defend myself. As you all know, I was a good friend of Colleen and Corey, and I discovered Miranda Sings in 2012, and I found Colleen through this. I ran a fan page on Instagram that I created in 2014 and a fan page on Twitter that I created in 2013, which I dedicated all of my time to. It was just me supporting the Ballinger family. It was simple. And I've been supporting them all up until recently. I've went to 2 of her shows, 2016 and 2018, and met her both times. After 2016, during a live stream that I'll discuss later, me and Colleen started talking on a more personal level. And by 2017, we were good friends. Or what I would have called good friends. Very quickly, we started talking a lot, and my parents were really happy to see the fact that someone like Colleen Ballinger was so dedicated to talking to all of her fans. This slowly turned into me getting private details about her divorce and what was happening with the relationship with her ex-husband. Around this time though was whenever my parents started getting a little bit more cautious and were wondering why a 30-year-old was talking to, at this time, a 13-year-old about her divorce. So from this point on, my parents really observed the conversations that I took part in with Colleen.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to say that there are red flags here, but red flags are usually indicators that there could subtly be something bad going on. But it's not that. It's just outright bad. Regardless of age, in terms of the context here, I still think it would be weird if Colleen Ballinger was saying this to a fan who was 24 or 25 years old. There is no real reason for Colleen Ballinger to be confiding the information that Adam described to any fan out there that she doesn't have a personal connection with. Because let's be real here for a second, when somebody is a super fan, there is going to be what is described obviously as a power dynamic. Now, this is a phrase which is just thrown around left, right, and center, and I think a lot of people out there truly don't understand what an actual power dynamic is. But ladies and gentlemen, what a power dynamic is what we've got right here. A 13-year-old super fan speaking to a super popular YouTuber. What business does Colleen Ballinger have speaking to this person on the regular? And the reason that this is weird, regardless of the context of the age in this situation, is because when you're a super fan of somebody, you're going to do anything you can to impress that person. I know you may say, I wouldn't do that. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, but there must be somebody that we're all a big fan of, you know, and if they were in the room with you, you want to say the right things to them. And the reason that this is a problem is because Colleen Ballinger was clearly confiding very personal bits of information to Adam Mcintyre, and I think the reason that she was doing that is because he was a super fan, and probably as a super fan validating everything that she said to him, regardless of if that was wrong or not. He was just an innocent fan trying to impress a YouTuber that he desperately wanted to be friends with. And then you add in the context of this person being 13, and it obviously gets oh so much worse. And I don't think this should be a controversial statement to make, but newsflash, 30-year-olds should not be speaking to 13-year-olds if they're not a family member, or, I don't know, maybe like they're a teacher to them or a music tutor. You shouldn't just be befriending random kids on the internet. You shouldn't do that, alright? Just... I know a lot of YouTubers need to know this information because it seems that a lot of them can't follow that rule. but you shouldn't be 30 years old and becoming friends with 13-year-old superfans. I know, it's a groundbreaking discovery, but yeah, it's clear the only reason that Colleen was doing this was probably because she was using Adam, as he mentioned, to do with garnering gossip. That was a weird part to this, but also he goes on to further explain their friendship in this video, and let's just get into that now.
At the time, I saw this as harmless, and I was just really excited that my favorite person in the entire world wanted to talk to me. Now, looking back though, I can see that it was just a way of baiting me to constantly get me to get her the information. And in 2016 to 2018, I was always asked to follow along gossip sites. Now, the gossip sites were talking about her ex-husband and hers relationship and the divorce. And I was very much so made to follow along with that and then feed back that information and what they were talking about. Now, me doing this, it led to my name getting thrown into the mix in these gossip sites, and Adam, the character, the person, whatever you want to call it, started getting really attacked on these sites too. Now, keep in mind I was only 14 at this time. So then I was getting targeted on these gossip sites, and I was getting called a pick-me, manipulative, and other words I won't say just because my extended family are watching this video, and I really can't. Once my parents saw all this, they asked me to distance myself from Colleen and all the Ballinger family. So it was at this point that I stopped really giving that much information, or as much as I did, to Colleen. But I would always be baited and dragged along again. Whether it was subscribing to my YouTube channel, which made me really happy, and then I would be asked again to get information, or a time where I was really upset because my name was getting thrown into the mix of a lot of things, and then I got a YouTube comment on one of my videos, and then I was asked again. Or in one case, making me believe that I would be flown out to America to go to VidCon. Me and my brother would be, along with someone else in the fandom. There's no need to mention their name. And that was strung along for ages as well, to the point where me and my brother actually bought an external, one of them wall plugs for America, and then that just never happened. The reasoning for this was the year before she did a competition where she flew out 2 fans. She said this year she was going to fly me and this other person from the fandom out, and then 2 other fans, and then that just never happened.
Now, firstly, before we say anything here, I've seen a big criticism of Adam's videos, and in particular criticism of Adam's actions, of people saying, oh, you chose to do these things, you just clearly wanted her attention, you're so immature. And I completely agree with you, and I think Adam does too. Adam was immature. By age definition, he was immature. As I said previously, he was 13 years old, and in this video exposing Colleen, he was still only 17 years old. Of course he was immature, and surely the 30-year-old should have took some observations here and thought, oh, yeah, maybe I shouldn't become friends with immature children on the internet that are super fans of me. Maybe I shouldn't do that. But obviously, I mean, we know that she very much didn't do that. And another criticism people made of Adam's claims here and just the video in general was, I guess, the lack of screenshots. And whilst things are shown in this video, there are obviously things here that people can't believe without evidence to. And maybe in hindsight, I can kind of understand why people were a little bit skeptical about all of the claims. But as I showed you previously, in 2023, there have been plenty of screenshots that have come out about Colleen in group chats with young fans. And oh, I can't even laugh at it. It's just disturbing. Why? So yes, in terms of the criticisms, one of them, I mean, I can kind of get, but at the same time, Adam does prove a lot of things in the video and show a lot of weird things. And as we showed previously with the underwear thing, which we will get into, there's really no defense of any of this. But in terms of the immaturity claim as well, I think that's absolute bollocks. And in a way, it seems like victim blaming to me. But the thing is, Adam agrees as well. He was immature.
Because I was dumb, impressionable, young, naive, whatever I want to call it. I have so many names for what I believe I was.
A child. You were a child, Adam, and Colleen should have had her adult perspective thinking, oh, yes, don't be friends with the child who I don't know on the internet, but clearly is a massive fan. I've said this 50 times, but I've got to say it 50 million times for content creators to understand. Don't be friends with kids. Just don't do it. You're 30. Go to I don't know, what do 30-year-olds do? Go to a comedy club. Something, I don't know, something where adults go and kids don't really venture to. Please. For the love of God. Please. Just listen to my advice. Like, seriously, I know I'm going on a bit of a tangent here, but am I the only one confused why there are grown adults that genuinely want to be friends with children? To me, it's just the ultimate red flag. To me, it indicates that you cannot make friends with people your age, probably because you are a massive bellend, to be honest with you. I'd say you're a horrible person, but you're probably just a bellend, so what you've got to do is go and speak to a load of kids and become friends with them because they look up to you and think, oh, you're an adult, you must be so cool, and you've got money and you've got life experience. And kids will become friends with the adults, but when they get a little bit older, like Adam did, they'll start to realize, it was a little bit weird when that 30-year-old spoke to me when I was 14 years old. That was a little bit weird. Really weird. And people have said, oh, well, it's not a crime. It's okay. Okay. I don't care if it's not a crime or if it is a crime. The criminal justice system does not dictate if everything is immoral or moral. In fact, the justice system is an incredibly skewed and flawed system, and I don't think we should use it as our identification if something is immoral or not. In my opinion, if you have to use the justice system to ask and answer the question of, is it immoral for a 30-year-old to be friends of a 13-year-old superfan, I mean, maybe just log off the internet and go and actually get some life experience, because you should have a very easy answer in your brain for that. But also, a 13-year-old being friends with a 30-year-old isn't just weird, it's also going to impact that 13-year-old's life and upbringing, because they're now speaking to somebody who isn't a parent or a teacher, who is also an adult, and that adult has so many experiences. That adult has already grown up, and they're going to directly influence this child with their own adult perspective on things. So this is naturally going to impact kids in possible very negative ways, and Adam himself actually clarifies on that when he speaks about the fact that Colleen would confide with Adam about things like divorce, and I'm like, what? Why? Just get a therapist. I mean, we know why. We know, and I will discuss why, but let's get into this.
I'm still really young now. I'm only 17, but looking back, it's hard to not get, like, fix yourself. You know, stop engaging in that. You're being used. I've been told so much private information about the divorce, but I won't get into that in this video because I feel it's unnecessary, but all the parties involved know that I have it. This information was always really hard to hear and digest as a 13 to 14-year-old because I was always led to believe that Jocelyn were the couple that I should have looked up to. In the vlogs, they were always really happy, so going from a sudden shift of idolizing Jocelyn, I had Jocelyn merch, from that to them being told all this really shit information about the ex-husband really just, it affected me back then, and I'm not gonna lie. And it affected me way more than it should have. It just made me really confused.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, I would say to you, it confuses me why a 30-year-old is trying to confide in a child in their relationship issues, but it doesn't. As I said earlier, I have my beliefs and reasonings to why I think this has actually happened, but on a YouTube perspective, this is where it confuses me. Because why would the world-famous Miranda Sings think, oh, it's a really good idea to speak to these kids about my divorce? Why would she think that would not eventually be exposed when the kid grows up a little bit, like it has? Why would she not think, oh yeah, maybe I shouldn't do this? Now, a lot of people, when they say this sort of thing, think, oh, well, what, so you're saying they should just carry on with their bad behavior but just hide it better? I'm not saying that, but sometimes you've got to look at this from a villain's perspective and think, as a supervillain, if you're laying out these, not just tracks, but like, it's like you've driven through mud in a massive tractor, and it's very obvious what's happening. That's a terrible analogy, but pretty much, if I'm a villain, I'm going to cover my tracks better than Colleen is. And Colleen, in this situation, isn't hiding it. She's got the messages readily available. She's been exposed for going into fan group chats, and I'm just confused to why she would think that none of this would ever come out. It's unbelievably idiotic, in my opinion, and it just kind of confuses me to a manner where I just don't really understand how somebody could be this dense. But let's actually get into the reason to why Colleen is speaking to these. Well, there's a lot of of reasons, but I think the main reason that she's gone to speak to children rather than adults is because these kids will enable her opinions and thoughts. As I mentioned earlier, Adam was a superfan, and what do superfans want to do? They want to impress the person that they're superfans of, especially when they are impressionable young children that don't exactly have life experience. So when you've got this millionaire 30-year-old coming to this superfan being like, oh, my husband's a bellend guy, they're this thing and that thing, I've got drama with this person and stuff like that. The kid's going to be sat there being like, oh, you're so in the right, you're so completely right about everything, because that's just what a kid would do when they are super fans of somebody. And Colleen clearly loved that and only would confide in the kids because she knows that every time she speaks to them, they're going to say, wow, Miranda sings, you're definitely right and your videos definitely aren't extremely cringy. It's extremely weird and manipulative behavior, but ladies and gentlemen, that's just the tip of the iceberg. This goes so unbelievably dark and spooky and scary to a place of where I'm starting to think, do I even want to make this video? But we're here now, so I guess we're going to have to do that, and this leads us into the story that I brought into the beginning of this video with the whole underwear saga. Yes, this is a real thing.
In 2016, Colleen and Corey were doing a live stream and they stumbled across my Twitter account. They found my tweets really funny, and this was the day before we officially started really talking. They found my Twitter so funny that they said they needed to send me bra and panties that Corey was wearing during the live stream. Now, looking back at that, I'm still a minor. I'm still 17, but looking back on that, I just... You know yourself.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, since this very moment of Adam revealing the information that Colleen Ballinger sent him underwear, there have been a lot of people being like, what about the context? Is there context here? Are you missing out information? And ladies and gentlemen, can I just ask the question of what possible context is going to make sending underwear to a I'm shouting this out loud and it makes me feel incredibly uncomfortable. So just think about the actual action. Sending underwear to a 13-year-old superfan who you don't know, you've never met, you just know them through the internet because they love your video. How is there context which is going to make that any better? It's not like she's the walking human embodiment of ASOS. She is Miranda Sings sending underwear to an underage fan. There is no context, in my opinion, which is going to validate this or make this better. So, for once in our lives, we're going to have to remove the argument of context here, because in my opinion, no context makes this better. But also, the context even in this situation is no better. It doesn't make anything better, shockingly enough, but even if we are going to go down that route, it doesn't improve this situation. And we will get into that when we go through a certain person's response. But then Adam starts to speak about his parent. I don't know what just happened. My throat just closed up. Maybe I'm dying, but Adam isn't dead because he gave his response and he spoke about what his parents said after this.
And also, minutes later, they made fun of how my parents would react to the fact of like two 30-year-olds sending me bra and panties, lingerie, to name it properly, on this live stream. So again, looking back as a 17-year-old, I'm just really disgusted at the situation and confused, honestly. They went on my Twitter because they thought it was funny, and then they said they had to send me the bra and panties. Here are some clips from that live stream.
Ew! That outfit! Screaming homeschooled Christian University realness.
Adam, Cookie Ballinger said, hi, you are such a fashion icon, and tweeted the ugliest picture of me. This is honestly the worst outfit. He's so rude. What made you order these ugly clothes?
Adam!
Those clothes are nasty. He's so rude. Oh my god, he's so sassy. Your Twitter account is making me laugh so much. Oh my god, that makes me laugh. I want to send him something. Do you want the bra, Adam?
Adam, do you want the bra and panties? Tweet right now.
Oh my god. Yeah, Adam, let me know what you want. He's in Ireland. Hi, Adam, I love you. Okay. I'm sending him something. Okay, maybe he'll want the panties. Although then his parents will be like, "You're not allowed to watch who is sending you panties."
This
He'd be like, "Mom, don't worry. I watched a boy wear them online first."
Here also, I've included a video that is now on private on my channel, but it is me talking about what happened whenever I met Colleen back in 2016. We had a conversation. Oh no, I remember what happened. We walked up and whenever I was hugging her, she said, "I'm so sorry I didn't bring your lingerie." Yeah, because in her live stream, she said she wanted to send me her lingerie. I'm not lying, she did. Trust me. She hugged me and we were talking and she was like, "I'm so sorry I didn't bring your lingerie." My parents were right behind me, so thanks for that, Colleen.
You know what I find the most disturbing about this is that Adam, as a teenager, a young teenager, not just about to become 18-year-old, even that's still young, but a 13-year-old Adam realized that what was going on here was wrong. It was inappropriate, and he knew that this was best kept away from his parents. If a 13-year-old knows that, why is a 30-year-old still complying in this? By acknowledging that his parents were there, he clearly knew that this was weird, and he didn't want other grown adults to know about this because he probably knew that those grown adults would stop this and stop him interacting with the person that he's a superfan with, and that plays into what I was speaking about earlier. It's very obvious that Adam was enabling Colleen because he was an immature superfan. He didn't know better. I'm not pinning any blame here, but this is an observation you need to make about superfans, and it's something Adam has said. And when you are that person with all those fans, you need to acknowledge that there is a power dynamic there and a very likely chance that you are going to have an inappropriate connection with somebody if you engage in a conversation with somebody in the context of Adam Mcintyre and Colleen Ballinger. But ladies and gentlemen, when I was doing the research for this video, I kind of knew about a few things here and there. I briefly knew about the underwear story, and I hadn't looked into it up until a few weeks ago, and when I heard about this, I thought, oh, maybe it was like a little thing on a video where she said she was going to send underwear to this person, and then she realized it was wrong, and surely she, surely she didn't actually send him underwear. Surely she didn't pay for international postage from the US of A to Ireland. Surely she didn't do that. Right? Right?
So I did get sent the lingerie, and immediately whenever it arrived, my parents were furious. They were so angry, and they took it away, and I didn't know if they still had it, and I asked my mom, did she have it, because she knew I was making this video. So she was looking all morning, but she did find it. So I still have this. My mom kept it. I didn't even see these because my mom had just taken them away because she was so shocked. So this was what I was sent. I don't even know, sorry, I don't know which way this goes. This is what I was sent, okay. Am I doing like a haul for you? I don't know. And then, I hate touching it. Then, these. I don't know which way they go, but these as well. So, I was genuinely still surprised that my mum had these, but so that was a big warning sign, but because I was so young, I didn't take it.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I don't think this is a red flag. I feel like this is somebody holding up a sign saying, I probably need to be watched by authorities. Don't take that out of context. And the fact that Adam's video has 39,000 dislikes is actually wild to me, and it is because of the response video that Colleen uploaded, which we will get into, but I don't think any response, or as I said previously, any context can fix or change or alter what is being said by Adam with the situation involving underwear. And yeah, I guess no law has technically been broken here, but again, it comes down to the thing that I mentioned earlier of legalities and the law justice system doesn't necessarily reflect morality. But then the thing is this is only the beginning of the story. The underwear is actually where everything begins. What's happening? I'm dying. I am actually dying. But yes, after this underwear interaction between Adam and Colleen, this is where they actually started to become friends, and it even led to Colleen going to Ireland for one of her shows, and during this time she actually met up with Adam and went for lunch, and after this they continued being close, and Adam basically had seemingly a long-term friendship with this person that lasted for around 4 years. And with this friendship, it seemingly then transformed into almost a business partnership of where Adam actually started to run the Miranda Sings Twitter accounts.
Colleen had been coming to me for video ideas, tweet ideas, Instagram ideas, anything for the Miranda Sings character, but also some for herself too. It was mainly focusing on helping her in the Miranda account from 2017 on, but there was a little part of helping her own channel out with ideas as well in 2017 to 2018. So I just helped give ideas. She was aware that the Miranda character had passed its time and that she didn't really enjoy doing it anymore because she couldn't really be problematic as the character anymore. So in December of 2017, I proper started giving tweets for the Miranda account. This included tweets on iCarly, Brazil, and a number of other things. I'm pretty sure she was in Hawaii at this stage. Yeah, she was. And whenever we talked about how Miranda wasn't really doing well anymore, she messaged me and then said, well, help me. And that's then whenever I started giving the tweet ideas. So on the 25th of March of this year, I started giving more ideas again because Colleen was aware that the Miranda character was becoming very stale and inactive on social media. And on the 26th of March again, she started tweeting my ideas, which included Animal Crossing stuff. So on the 25th and 26th, I presented her with about 15 different tweet ideas. So then came a tweet about Miranda Sings coming out as a Meghan Trainor fan, which she was initially confused about. And she says, I don't know what you're saying about Meghan. So then I explained it again, and Colleen was fully going to go ahead posting it herself, as you can see here. So I helped give her the photos and the concept, and she said, when should I do that? Should I do that today or tomorrow before I post the video? And I said, what are you waiting for, today? And she says, okay, cool. Showing that she had every single intention to post this tweet on her own behalf. And then on the 26th of March at 12 minutes past 10 p.m, she messaged me and said, I have a present for you today. I've never done this with anyone, but I'm trusting you. And then she proceeded to tell me about how she was planning on making me her social media intern. Right now, I'm considering you my social media intern, but if things go well, we can talk about me hiring you part-time for an hourly rate. I don't like using your creativity and insight for free.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, running somebody's Twitter account isn't exactly a criminal thing here, but I guess in the context of everything, it is still a bit weird. Given some of the details that Adam has provided during this video, such as him speaking to Colleen about her divorce, and just in general, their inappropriate friendship, whatever you want to call it, I don't know if I really vibe with the fact that he's now going to be working with her, especially when it involves running her social media. To me personally, it just seems a little bit weird, albeit it's not a criminal action in no way, shape or form. It is a little bit weird given the context of everything that we've gone through today. But despite this being a controversial move for Colleen Ballinger, it seems that this was a situation or position that only lasted around a day because of a few tweets that she received calling out Colleen for queerbaiting. And bear in mind here, these tweets at the time had 0 likes. So I think one thing to take into context here is Colleen is clearly hypersensitive about any forms of criticism, and I think that's something we should keep in our minds throughout this video because it does kind of play into why she is friends with so many of her young fans, because I feel like she kind of wanted to control the fandom from criticizing her. This is something that a lot of content creators like to do, where they have these parasocial relationships with their audience, not because they necessarily care or love their audience, but because they want to control pretty much everything. They're so frightened of any form of criticism that they have to spend their days just like a puppeteer dictating what goes on in their community. When the reality is, no normal human being does that. You should be able to accept criticism or at least ignore it, but in this case it seemed that Colleen very much could not handle that, and that led to her DMing Adam pretty much getting very upset about this situation of her being called a queerbaiter. She said things such as people are very sensitive these days days, and then goes on to say that's the reason that it's hard to do Miranda sings nowadays, because people have a difficulty of understanding satire. I don't think this is a thing of people having difficulty of understanding satire. I think it's more of a, well, how do I say it? It's more of a thing of the Miranda Sings YouTube channel persona, whatever you want to call it. It's just chronically and utterly unfunny. The Miranda Sings YouTube persona is just something that belongs in 2013, and we need to leave it there. But it's clear that this was her main shtick, and she found it very difficult to move on from that, probably because it brought her lots of money in the past, and I think that she was desperate to latch onto it. But the reality is, Colleen, you need to understand, it's not a thing of people not understanding satire. It's just, it's not very funny anymore, and the audience grew up out of it. But the reason Adam was bringing this up in his video is because Colleen started to seemingly actually get upset at Adam. Now, she didn't necessarily say anything directly, but when you look at these messages, it almost seems that she is pinning the blame on Adam for these tweets. And to be honest with you, I don't really understand what she was expecting here. You hired a 17-year-old. Just go and pay for an actual social media team ran by professionals. Go get somebody who does this for a living, and maybe don't hire a 17-year-old superfan, because usually when you hire a child, it's not always going to go down the way you like it, because they are 17 years old. But yeah, because of a few people calling out Colleen for queerbaiting, which is a phrase which is overused by absolutely everybody at this point of time, but because of that, she then said, Adam, you can still run the account, but I need to monitor every single tweet that you post. So why at that point just not post them yourself?
So even though she was saying this, she was slowly starting to put the blame and guilt onto me for stuff that she had already approved and was going to tweet on her own, whether she had given me the password or not. Now keep in mind, she texted me and said go crazy in relation to on the account, yet I only tweeted stuff that she had approved, including talking to fans and keeping updated in group chats. And at 8:51 on the 27th of March, she sent a message saying, don't forget, don't post anything without my approval for now. Now taking back what she had initially said because she saw the fault that she had shown. The next morning and day were really rough for me. I just want to say thanks to my friends and my parents and my family, because that was a rough day. It was such a bad day. I saw someone I called a best friend turn her back on me, and that really hurts. So at 6:05 PM on the 27th of March, she sent me a message saying, I'm getting an overwhelming amount of hate for the coming out stuff. I don't know what to do. It's like every other tweet I'm getting right now on my Colleen Twitter. I haven't even looked at the Miranda, yet I'm scared to. So 10 minutes later, it turned into her saying how she apologised to one person. And she said, the thing is, I agree with them. Queerbaiting is not a joke. I'm super sad I've upset so many people. I'm telling you, girl, I'm super sensitive, like near tears. Again, trying to guilt me and make me feel really bad for something that she had already approved and found funny. And she didn't see any problems with it.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is just absolutely bizarre behaviour. As I said previously, maybe just don't hire a 17-year-old superfan, and maybe just spend some of your millions on hiring a team ran by professionals. And the whole thing of where Colleen's like, oh, I'm so sensitive, and is basically saying that she's crying and stuff, is just utterly pathetic to me. She knows who she's speaking to here. She knows that this is obviously going to make Adam feel terrible. Because for one, he is a kid, and kids will take it like they're being blamed with how Colleen was speaking there, by her being like, oh, I actually agree with the criticism I'm getting, despite the fact she approved these posts. The only reason that she is saying this to Adam is to kind of convey her own personal guilt onto him, so he can take responsibility for the actions of what was posted on the account, despite Colleen approving the stuff. Now, obviously, this isn't the most criminal thing that we've ever witnessed on this channel, but obviously, it is still weird, it is still bad, and I think, Colleen, you just need to learn to, as I've said 4 times now, hire a social media team rather than your young fans. But it gets even better, because apparently people thought that Colleen was homophobic because of some of the things that Adam was posting on her Twitter account.
It's all anyone is talking about. I'm really upset. I would never post something like that, and now everyone thinks I'm homophobic.
Maybe it's because you are homophobic. Okay, I can't say that, but This whole thing is very minute in comparison to the things that were mentioned earlier, and I feel like this is a big reason to why Colleen actually got away with this situation. And I'm not blaming Adam for just speaking his story here, but I think whenever there's a situation where somebody speaks about multiple stories, it can kind of mix up everything and allow somebody to kind of hyper focus on only one part and then kind of use that as a way to wash away everything else. Because obviously in this story, the underwear part and just speaking to a 13-year-old about some of the details that Adam described is obviously extremely inappropriate, but in comparison to hiring a 17-year-old to run your Twitter account, that part is obviously not as bad. But I think the problem is here is a lot of people are just outright ignoring the context of why Adam particularly spoke about this one individual story, and this is because this seemingly was actually his last proper interaction with Colleen as a friend, because this situation seemingly caused Adam to crack. Because obviously at this point of time, Adam was 17 years old, and obviously a 17-year-old is more mature than a 13-year-old. He has more life experience, and I think Adam started to realize that with this situation with the social media management of Miranda Sings, this friendship or whatever you can call it with Colleen Ballinger wasn't appropriate, and how he was being treated here wasn't very nice whatsoever, and this led to Adam leaving the social media position in a very mature way, where he clearly states that he still has love for Miranda or Colleen Ballinger, whatever you want to call them, and just in general, this is where things started to go downhill despite Adam leaving the position in a very mature manner. And obviously Adam was very upset here because it seemed that he was in a position which he had dreamed about for years, working for the person that he'd been a superfan for absolutely years now. That's something that a lot of people can only dream about, working for the person that they idolize. So naturally when that thing failed, he was going to be very upset, as you can kind of see in his DM here. But I guess the question is well, how did Colleen respond to this? How did she respond to her very upset superfan that wasn't just a fan, but seemingly a friend who had not only given her advice, but also clearly done a lot of work for her? How did Colleen respond?
I got left unread and I was ignored from this point on. Yep. Also to add that even though she found all the tweets funny and she loved everything I did with the account, she deleted all my tweets after I logged out of the account. So, yeah. So 3 or 4 weeks passed and I heard nothing. Nothing. On vlogs for days after, she milked how sad she was, crying but never saying what it was, which again was just another big F you to me. And I'd also been aware that Corey DeSoto, her best friend, had been shit-talking me in fan DMs during this time. He blocked me on Twitter and I called him out for it. Then recently I was showed DMs of what Corey had been saying about me in these group chats and what he had been saying that Colleen had said about me in these group chats. So there's a Twitter account, there's no need saying the @ because it's just free promo, but it was basically just sending hate and targeting and harassing Colleen Ballinger fans. And the DM from Corey read, Colleen thinks, and then the @ is Adam. In this group chat with a bunch of other people.
This is genuinely a horrible thing to hear. Again, I know I will keep mentioning ages, but I think it's very important to keep remembering the context of Adam was only 17 years old at this point. He was clearly very upset. And I think the least that Colleen could have done in this situation is just say, hey, I'm sorry about this. I'm sorry it didn't work out. Just a nice little message. It didn't even need to be a big paragraph. It could have just been a short sentence, something. And again, this isn't a criminal action. It is just her being a bellend here. But I think it is a reflection of what their friendship actually was. It wasn't a real friendship. It was a grown adult clearly taking advantage of the admiration of a young fan who just in general wanted to be buddies with somebody that they had idolized for years. I think this is something that everybody in one point of their life has wanted to have, a connection with somebody that they idolize, a famous person, a celebrity, a YouTuber, whoever. We've all had people, particularly when we were younger, that we wanted to interact with, and Adam managed to get that, but it turned out the person that he had idolized was not who he thought they actually were. This is something that does happen regularly, but it doesn't make it any less tragic. I genuinely do feel bad for Adam, and honestly, I think his video is genuinely good. I don't actually see any real malice when it came to Adam in this video. It's clearly he was upset. It was clear that he was hurt, but to me personally, this didn't seem like he was branding Colleen as an absolute criminal. It was just him saying, yeah, this this was an inappropriate friendship and I cannot keep dealing with this in private, and I can completely understand where he was coming from in this video. But then we go in to the community response to this, because as I mentioned previously, there were multiple things spoken about in this video which in the future have now been kind of used as a way to wash out the real inappropriate things being mentioned. With the whole Twitter account aspect of things, it seems that the community's response to this wasn't what Adam was expecting, because Colleen Ballinger did respond to the situation in this video right here, and this response to me is genuinely one of the worst responses I have ever seen. But the weird thing about this is that the community reception to this was amazing. People were saying, wow, this was an articulate and great response which just disproves everything. She was owning up to her wrongs, and isn't that absolutely amazing? But I'm sat here in 2023 just absolutely outstanded by this. And the problem is that I heard about Colleen's response. I heard people say, wow, it was an amazing response. And because of that, I just chose not to look into it, because I thought, oh, it's another situation of a YouTuber disproving things. But it really wasn't that. It was a response of nothing but pure, utter manipulation and deceit. Now, my friends, whenever there's a situation on the internet where somebody is involved in a big old expose, the person who you'd watched for your entire childhood gets exposed for something absolutely horrific. It's a thing which, sadly happens quite a lot. I always say in these situations, the most important thing isn't the original expose, but it's actually how the person who was exposing that expose responds to the expose. For example, if they put out an actually, decent response in the eyes of the social norms of the world, then yeah, they may actually be able to move on from this response and continue to build their career and just in general grow and, change whatever the words are for these situations away from these exposes and situations. Maybe they prove themselves to be innocent, or maybe they just, make the world understand that they were wrong, but they can move on and become a better person. But that's the good ending. That isn't most cases. That's a usually quite rare thing to happen in the eyes of YouTube. And the main reason for that being is, well, influencers are very, very stupid, and if an influencer puts out a response which is just, in the views of society and the internet, absolutely terrible, then there's a good chance that their whole career is going to be in the mud. Usually with an expose, things will look bad, but if you then respond badly, it's going to be a million times worse. So yeah, the response is very important, because whether you're even innocent or guilty, it doesn't really matter. I know that sounds absolutely insane, but in the eyes of the public, they just want a good response. You could lie through your teeth, but if you lie well, you are going to be accepted back into the community, because those people watching don't know that it's lies, and they think this is, wow, a really good and honest response. You can be deceptive, manipulative, but if you do it in a good way, then things might actually be okay for these content creators. But if you do it in a bad way, well, it's over. But what's interesting is with Colleen Ballinger, this theory completely just goes out of the window. Like, I know I said lying and being manipulative and deceptive is something that you can do in your apology, and if you do it well, I get that. And Colleen is... I'm getting ahead of myself. Basically, on the 13th of May 2020, Colleen uploaded a video titled Addressing Everything, and this video has 3.7 million views and 229,000 likes, and this is an incredibly good view to like ratio. And by the logic of that, you'd probably be thinking to yourself, it's either a good apology where she tells the truth, or it's a good apology in the essence of where she lies and is very deceitful in a very convincing way. But either one of those scenarios aren't true here. This response is utterly garbage. It's terrible. It's one of the worst responses I have ever seen. And yet, it destroys my theory, because the community clearly accepted this as some form of masterpiece. And the thing is, with this response, the majority of the video is not even her apologizing for the Adam stuff, but it's actually her apologizing due to other scenarios, such as being exposed for things such as using racial stereotypes in the name of comedy, but also other things such as apologizing for getting her dog put down, which she joked about in the past. And when I was going through this apology originally doing my research of this video, I thought to myself, okay, the reason that she's doing this is because she wants to put some genuine authenticity out there before she gets into the bollocks, because realistically there's no way to deflect from the stuff that happened with Adam. But the thing is, well, that's not even true, because when she was speaking and apologizing about the story to do with her getting her dog apparently put down, it involved, in my opinion, lies.
Something else I want to talk about that has been brought up is that when I was 3 years old, I was bit by a dog. I needed to go to the hospital, and when my mom told the doctor that a dog had bit me, the doctor said that legally the dog needed to be put down. Now, the clip of me that is circulating from 7 years ago is me talking about this situation in a very insensitive way, when in reality, when our dog was put down, I was really upset, and over the years I have addressed this a few times in videos talking about how guilty I feel, how upset I am that this happened. Still to this day, as a 33-year-old woman, I feel guilty that our dog had to be put down for biting me. But in this clip, I talk about the story in a very dramatic, silly way, because sometimes, unfortunately, I use humor to talk about things that are actually extremely painful for me, and this is an example of that.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, usually in these sort of scenarios, I would tend to agree that yes, people do use dramatizations to deal with trauma and to cope with just things which are negatively impacting them in their day-to-day lives. But the thing is the story that Colleen is referring to here isn't a dramatization, in my opinion. It isn't her doing it for comedic effect. It's just more her, well, just telling the story. And yes, this story originates from Colleen years ago speaking about where she apparently got a dog put down. And as Colleen presented in her apology response video in 2020, this was just a joke. Yes, the situation happened, but how she originally presented it was not how she presented it in that video. But I'm gonna play now the original video of where she told this story, and I just don't think it lines up with what she's saying in her 2020 video.
I used to actually rip things up or get angry. So I grabbed my dog for no reason, just grabbed the dog and pinched its skin and dug my nails into it. The dog yelps, turns around to protect itself, and bites me in the face. And I got stitches, I went to the hospital, and they were like, what happened? And I was like, the dog just bit me. And then they had to put the dog to sleep because the dog was dangerous to be around. So I murdered a dog.
Hey, yo, what the f?
Yes, maybe there is some form of dramatization here. Maybe this could be seen as a joke. But to me personally, it doesn't line up with what she was saying in her video in 2020. There is no good reason for me to, when I would be originally watching this video that I just played, to take that as some form of a joke. When I see that, I hear Colleen Ballinger saying that, well, she got her dog put down. And you know, I wasn't even originally going to go into the situation. I'd seen tweets about it during my research, but the reason I'm mentioning it now is because I feel like this is a perfect example of how Colleen is willing to change the context of specific situations in order to make herself look better in the public eye. And this is something that you're going to discover throughout this entire video that she does in pretty much every single scenario that she's involved in, whether it's public or whether it's with her fans in private, where she's trying to kind of militarize them against people speaking against Colleen. This is just something that she loves to do, and this moves us into when she finally gets into speaking about Adam in this video.
These things are being brought to light because some people are upset with me for not addressing something that happened a few weeks ago. Someone had made a video saying some shocking and hurtful things about me, and a lot of you wanted me to address it, and I didn't. I didn't address it not because I was just ignoring it and hoping it would go away, but because when this person messaged me letting me know they were upset, I responded immediately. I was very shocked and confused. I expressed I didn't know what they were talking about, and I also expressed frustration that they were trying to bring my son's name into their drama.
Now, this immediately starts off with the narrative that I previously mentioned of Colleen likes to change the context of situations to make herself look better in the eyes of her fans and just in general the public. I didn't like that you were bringing my son into the drama. Now, you may be wondering what Colleen Colleen is actually referring to here, because pretty much up until this point, there hasn't really been a mention of Colleen's children. Well, it does refer to one message that Adam sent to Colleen in 2020, which said this: "Being told by multiple people how you and Corey have been running accounts saying I run a hate account for people who support you, which is extremely disappointing that your mind goes to that place. I'm aware, and so are my parents, and have screenshots of everything from the past few weeks that Corey has said about me in relations to you in these group chats, and also everything else before, but never thought you'd stoop to that level, especially due to the 17-year age gap. Talk to me in 16 years if a 33-year-old takes advantage of Flynn for years, then runs talking him on Twitter." And if you didn't know, Flynn is apparently Colleen's son, who is significantly younger than Adam, but the point he is trying to make here is if her son was 16 years old and speaking to a 30-year-old internet celebrity, Colleen would not be comfortable with that, like any other parent around the world would not be comfortable with any 30 or 33-year-old speaking to their child, because the context being they are a child speaking to a grown adult from across the world who they do not know, have never met, and have really no business speaking to. And the thing is here, ladies and gentlemen, as I said, the context has been changed. This is not Adam bringing the son into the drama. This is Adam simply making an extremely valid point. After this message was sent, the son has never really been mentioned until this point of time, because the son is not involved in the drama. It just is an extremely valid thing to say. Why would a mother of a child speak to another child across the world? It makes no sense, and it is quite disturbing. So I can completely understand what Adam is saying, but obviously Colleen is only bringing this up so she can pretty much just villainize Adam and make him seem as the bad guy, the villain in the situation, the person bringing the son into it, the 1-year-old child who is innocent in all of this. Why are you bringing the son into this, Adam? I can't believe it. And ladies and gentlemen, as you can probably guess from the like ratio, this worked wonders for Colleen. But honestly, I don't really understand why. Because as I said earlier, when somebody responds to a situation where they're lying and being deceitful and manipulating things, but in a very smart way where the audience can't see past it, I can completely understand why an audience would be hoodwinked like that. But in this situation with Colleen, this lie or change of context is so unbelievably obvious. It's so obvious what she is doing here. Yet in 2020, people just ate this up. And look, I understand some of you watching this right now are going to be like, oh, I was one of those people. Okay, I'm not really blaming you, but I'm just more confused to how anybody thought that this was some form of good excuse. But alas, this is only the beginning of the video, and it's immediately absolutely awful. Well, I say it's the beginning of the video. It's actually like halfway through, and the reason for that is because, as I said earlier, she wanted to go through the bullshit to kind of make herself seem like the good person, but actually it only made herself like even bigger of a liar. But, well, let's continue.
Then I received a message from this person's mother asking me to not speak his name. So I was trying to respect the mother's wishes and the parents' wishes of this 17-year-old. But it has gotten to a point where there are so many rumors and lies and speculations going around, I feel like I need to address it.
Okay, let's actually do what Colleen didn't do here. Completely on purpose, may I add. And actually take a look at the DMs that she was showing on screen and just quickly flicking through like anybody would actually have the time to read them. When you look at these DMs, it's quite obviously a mother explaining why Adam mentioned her son, and then she pretty much just goes on to say, keep my son's name out of your mouth. And I'm only reading this slowly so you yourself can actually have a chance to read these DMs, which, as I said earlier, is something that Colleen deliberately did not want you to do, because if you did read these DMs, you'd probably realize that Colleen's point is, well, completely invalid. In the DMs, she doesn't say that she can't address the situation, and to be honest, it's not like these DMs were a binding contract. Colleen is only acting this way and saying this is like some form of special request from Adam's mum because Colleen doesn't actually have any valid points to make, so instead Colleen has to frame herself like she's this wonderful, respectful, and nice person who's gonna respect the wishes of Adam's mother. But to you 10+ people that remain as Colleen Ballinger fans, you may be saddened saddened to hear that the main reason that Colleen didn't actually respond immediately to Adam's video wasn't because she was respecting the mother's wishes, but it was actually because, well, she was hoping the situation was going to die down. She was hoping the situation was going to go away because there is no real defense to what she had done, and the best possible way that she could defend herself was by not saying anything and hoping that everybody would forget and she could just move on. But obviously, that didn't happen, and that's why she is now responding. But of course, this is just Colleen, once again, trying to change the context of certain situations. To take the message of keep my son's name out of your mouth as some form of binding contract, as some form of defense, it's just complete bollocks. Given the nature of what Adam said in his video, Colleen had to respond. If there was any possible defense or any, I don't know, context missing from the situation, ironically, she should come out and defend herself. But the reality is, as I keep saying, there is no context which changes anything, and the real context is only bad. She shouldn't have been interacting how she was interacting with fans, and there is no justification, but instead, she can't admit that, so she's just gotta be like, oh, I was just respecting the mother's wishes, which is bollocks, of course, and the bollocks doesn't really end there. In fact, it doesn't end for another 2 to 3 hours. I don't know how long this video is going to be, but it's going to be long.
That's what she said.
I do have receipts proving the things that I'm about to tell you. However, I feel uncomfortable sharing them because he is a minor. So I'm only going to be showing you the things that were between adults or things that were already public.
Now this is just insane. This is insane. Like this misshaping of context once again is just absolutely embarrassing.
Oh, I felt uncomfortable sharing his DMs because he's a minor.
Yet you felt pretty comfortable confiding in this guy, confiding in multiple minors for years about your divorce, about very uncomfortable things. You were very comfortable for 4 or maybe even more years to speak to minors on the internet as a grown woman. But now you've got some level of moral compass about inappropriately interacting with minors on the internet. Colleen, I don't think you can pull that card on us, but obviously, for some reason, the internet bought that. Why? Like, can anyone answer the question of why? Because this whole video is about her inappropriately messaging minors, but showing the messages is now inappropriate. There's no logic. It makes no sense. The reality is, her conversations and her interactions with Adam, but also other fans, were inappropriate. And what she is saying here is a very good way of burying these messages and making sure that the public don't demand to see them, out of the whole mantra of, think about the children! The same children that you were saying this to! Think about them, Colleen!
I don't know. I think that's a bit dodgy, mate.
And all of this just continues throughout this response, and I just don't know how anybody fell for it. But yeah, it is just an entire video of her changing context on every single point that she made, and it eventually, finally, leads us into her speaking about the entire underwear saga.
The biggest issue that came from his video is that I sent a child underwear, and wow, anyone who heard this out of context and was offended, I completely understand because I would be too. But in this situation, context is everything. So I would like to give you some context to this situation.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have the little question here of, can somebody explain to me what certain piece of context can actually change the uncomfortable feeling that I get from a 30-year-old celebrity sending their underwear to a 13-year-old child, or was just a child on the internet, sending the underwear over international postage, expensive by the way, cost of living crisis and all, sending it all the way to another continent. What context changes the uncomfortability that I feel from that? Because I would absolutely love to know. And I think what's most ironic about what Colleen is saying here is now she's not even hiding about the changing of context of every single scenario. Now she's like, no, we've got to change the context in this scenario. I'm going to make it actually seem like a good thing that I sent my underwear to a child. I have neighbors, and I hope They didn't just hear what I said. They're working, hopefully. Somebody's got it, I'm clearly not. So yeah, apparently Colleen has a story which is going to change this, and unless the story kind of exposes how in her origin story of becoming a human being that she was originally the human embodiment of ASOS, I don't think that there's anything that's going to change my mind here. But let's give her a chance. Let's see what she's got to say.
4 years ago, I did a live stream, and in this live stream, I did a giveaway. I was giving away clothes that were unused, tagged still on, brand new, that I had just bought, but I did not want. One of the items that was in this box was a really ugly pair of underwear. As soon as we pulled them out, Corey and I started laughing and joking around about how ugly they were. Why did I buy these ridiculous underwear? It was so stupid.
I just got big old box from Forever 21 and I want to open it up in front of you guys. Maybe I'll send the ones I don't want to you guys. I got a bunch of crop tops. The panties from you.
And people started asking for them in the live stream.
Everyone wants that bra.
You want the bra?
Everyone wants the bra.
At the end of the live stream, I was done giving away clothes, and then this boy who made this video about me recently, he asked for the underwear.
Yay, we picked people. I think that's enough.
Did that boy win these or not?
I don't know. He has to tell me what he wants.
What do you say? Is he being mean?
He said, hi, you have ugly clothes, but I want those ratchet panties and bras signed by Corey because he modeled them well.
Yeah!
It was so ridiculous and funny, we laughed about it, and I forgot to send them to him.
This is an absolute manipulation of the truth. This isn't just changing context. In my opinion, this is just outright lying about the original situation which she is speaking about here. I don't know if you noticed it then, but in that clip that Colleen played, it was very spliced up. It's not like she played the full raw footage. No. She made sure to splice it up in a way that makes her look in the right. But ladies and gentlemen, like we like to do on this channel, we spend way too much time looking into things which do not impact my day on a day-to-day basis. And that is, I actually did some research, and the research was, I found the original live stream. And in that live stream, I can tell you now, the context of which she presented it just now is different, and I'm going to go through the timestamps right now. So ladies and gentlemen, let's firstly get into slice number 1, which Colleen presents. And this is going to be a bit confusing, but eventually it'll all kind of glue and mesh up into a big puzzle photo, something, I don't know, it's gonna make sense is what I'm saying here. So slice number 1.
I just got big old box from Forever 21 and I want to open it up in front of you guys.
This slice number 1, was from 1 minute and 29 seconds in the video. And then strangely enough, we jump ahead into slice number 2.
Maybe I'll send the ones I don't want to you guys.
Now the reason I said this is strangely enough is because this splice right here is from 6 minutes and 40 seconds. That is quite the jump in time. But then after this, it actually gets even worse of where we move into splice number 3 and 4.
I got a bunch of crop tops. The panties from you.
Now these splices were from around 12 minutes in the video, but as you can see so far, we're kind of jumping quite a lot through this. This was a 30+ minute live stream, and randomly we've jumped through multiple segments which you have not seen the full context for. But then we get into the mentioning of people wanting the bra, and this splice is an even bigger jump.
Everyone wants that bra.
You want the bra?
Everyone wants the bra.
So yeah, that was from 33 minutes in, as I just said, but then we move into the real kicker, where the next splices after this, the next 2, are from around 40 minutes into this live stream. And again, we have jumped 10 minutes ahead. We're ignoring all the context of what was said in those 10 minutes, and I'm just going to play them again right now.
This boy who made this video about me recently, he asked for the underwear.
Yay, we picked people. I think that's enough.
Did that boy win these or not?
I don't know. He has to tell me what he wants.
What do you say? Is he being mean?
He said, hi, you have ugly clothes, but I want those ratchet panties and bras signed by Corey because he modeled them well.
Yeah!
Now, ladies and gentlemen, you're probably wondering, well, Fraser, why are you showing me these timestamps? Why are we going through these splices that Colleen put in her response video? Well, the reason for that is that in these splices, you can see that individual things have been picked out to present a certain argument that Colleen wants you to believe. She wants you to believe that Adam was pretty much begging throughout the entire live stream for the underwear. She wants you to think that Adam was pretty much being a pest because he wanted the underwear and he was pretty much demanding it from the very beginning of the stream, but that is not the truth. Because the first time that any mention of underwear in this stream came was from 12 minutes in, but not from Adam, from Colleen.
The bottom half of the panties from... Ew, these are gross looking.
Did you just think it was like a cute underwear
Yeah,
set?
I thought it was a cute underwear set. I need you to put it on
Okay.
so bad. And we'll give it away. I'm not using that.
So firstly, as you can see here, there has already been a changing of context of where Colleen was pretty much presenting it like Adam was begging for the bra throughout the entire video and pretty much being the main one to keep bringing it up.
People started asking for them in the live stream. He asked for the underwear.
But as you just saw, Colleen was the one to first bring it up.
And we'll give it away.
But the thing is throughout the entire live stream, Corey, her friend, was sat next to her, posing in the bra throughout the entire stream, and they kept on referencing it ever since Colleen brought it up in the 12th minute. It wasn't like Adam randomly just brought up the bra and was like, oh, give me that right now, give it to me. And he was spamming the chat the entire live stream. It wasn't like he was doing that. It was pretty much a joke throughout the entire stream. And I think what makes this even more insane is when you're watching Colleen's video from 2020, you would get the impression that Adam was being regularly brought up throughout the entire stream and he was pretty much dominating everything by begging for the underwear. But the reality is, even up to the 33 minutes, Adam was not mentioned, but Colleen and Corey kept on bringing up giving away the underwear.
It's because I'm modeling it. Should I model the other things? I think I'll stretch them out.
They don't want the other things. They want us to donate it.
Oh.
Everyone wants the bra.
Nobody wants the panty? Proby?
Again, there was no mention of Adam here, but also they clearly were entertaining the aspect of giving away the underwear. This was something that they were doing regularly throughout the entire stream, hence Corey was posing with it. And in fact, Adam wasn't actually mentioned until the very ending of the live stream, 40 minutes in, contrary to what you would believe if you just watched Colleen's video.
What made you order these ugly clothes?
Adam!
Oh my god.
Super cute.
Please give me the dress. Oh my god. Those clothes are nasty. He's so rude. Oh my god. You guys, you're killing me. Okay. Oh my god, he's so sassy. Oh my god, this is hilarious. Your Twitter account is making me laugh so much. Clean boobs are bursting out of every outfit I approve. Corey is still chilling with lingerie on. Ew, that's an ugly shirt. No, put that shirt in the bin. Oh my god, that makes me laugh. I want to send him something. Do you want the bra, Adam?
Adam, do you want the bra and panties? Tweet right now.
Oh my god. Yeah, Adam, let me know what you want.
So here right there, you can clearly see that Colleen Ballinger was so obviously splicing up clips to manipulate the context to pretty much just lie to her entire audience. Reminder, this is how she presented it.
People started asking for them in the live stream. He asked for the underwear.
Now obviously we know that's a complete and utter lie.
He's in Ireland. Hi, Adam. I love you. Okay. I'm sending him something. Oh my god, that made me laugh so hard. The shade. You said you shaded me so hard. Okay, maybe he'll want the panties. Although then his parents will be like, "You're not allowed to watch who is sending you panties."
This
He'd be like, "Mom, don't worry. I watched a boy wear them online first."
And as you can see, she once again brought up the idea of sending the underwear to Adam, despite in her video in 2020 portraying it as, oh, Adam kept asking for it, Adam wanted them. She put the idea out there, she kept presenting it in her stream, and even if Adam was in her chat saying things, she did not need to make the idea become even bigger than Adam spamming the chat or saying things in the chat. She could have just ignored it, but no, she clearly wanted to send this underwear. So yes, ladies and gentlemen, I think it's very clear what is going on here. Colleen was the one to mention the underwear in the first place. She was the one to first bring up sending the underwear to Adam in the first place, but when you were to originally watch the Colleen response video in 2020, given the spliced up clips that she presented, you would not think that. You would think that Adam was being a pest throughout the entire live stream. But ladies and gentlemen, even if he was doing that, I hate to say it, but that's still not a justification for sending underwear to a 13-year-old over the internet. You shouldn't do that even if they are pesting you, because 13-year-olds are immature, they are children, and you have the moral responsibility as an adult to recognize that and avoid that, to just not even bring it up in the first place. But the worst part is we're not even at the final clip shown in the splices that Colleen showed in her 2020 video. With all of this extra stuff that she didn't include, it makes the story oh so much worse, but now we finally get in to the final splice.
Yay, we picked people. I think that's enough.
Did that boy win these or not?
I don't know. He has to tell me what he wants. What was his name again?
We're gonna.
Oh, shoot.
Adam?
Oh, yeah. It was Adam. Yeah, it was Adam.
What do you say? Is he being mean?
He said, hi, you have ugly clothes, but I want those ratchet panties and bra signed by Corey because he modeled them well.
Yeah!
Now this is at the very ending of the live stream. This is pretty much the last minute, and even towards that moment of time, they were still asking what Adam wants, and they were still mentioning the underwear. And even when Adam says that he wants the underwear, he mentions it's because of Corey's modeling. So clearly, it's because of those two going on about it throughout the entire live stream. What Colleen said in her video in 2020 was a complete and utter lie, and it's genuinely disgusting that that lie has been used to slander and victim blame Adam for 3 years straight.
He asked for the underwear.
But naturally, ladies and gentlemen, not everybody is going to find the stream that I found and work everything out. And honestly, I completely get that. This is one bit of manipulation from Colleen, which you could consider actually to be quite smart, even if it is an absolutely terrible thing to do, because no one really is gonna want to go through an entire live stream and work out the context of specific orders of splices of footage. That's just not something that the regular human being has the time to do on a day-to-day basis. Fortunately though, I am here, I don't really have much of a life, and I have just done that and proven that yes, basically everything up until this point of the response that we're at with Colleen is just an outright manipulation of the truth. And how much manipulation of the truth does it have to be until it becomes an outright lie?
It was so ridiculous and funny, we laughed about it, and I forgot to send them to him. And eventually he tweeted me asking me for them again. I sent them to him. He put them on over his clothes and posted about them. It was like a big joke within the fandom. I did this publicly. That live stream is still up right now. And I've always given out weird random things in live streams. I've given out a taco costume. I've given out old bobby pins, dirty shoes. A few weeks ago, I sent a fan like a single piece of toilet paper. I've always given away weird stuff. And so in my mind, at the time, this was no different than all the other weird stuff I send to my fans as a joke. Now, in hindsight, I see how completely stupid of me. I should have never sent that. I don't know what part of my brain was missing at the time that I thought, oh, this is a normal, silly thing to do. I should have realized and recognized how dumb that was and never sent it to him, no matter how much he asked. But it was never a sneaky, creepy, gross thing that I was doing in secret. It was a silly, stupid mistake that now is being blown way out of proportion.
If you personally view something as not sneaky or not something that you've intended to be malicious, that necessarily doesn't really justify your actions. That doesn't mean that what you have possibly done is in the right. That is just your personal perspective. But in the eyes of society, especially in the eyes of 2023 society, is what Colleen Ballinger did was gross and it was wrong. But what she is doing here is trying to downplay the situation, to manipulate everybody into thinking, she clearly admits her faults and she's clearly, knowing that she's wrong about the situation, but she's growing and she's changing and she's moving on, as some of the comments seem to say in the comment section of this video. But that's no further from the truth. The fact she is willing to try and manipulate everybody into believing that is even worse. It shows me that she isn't sorry. It shows me that she is actually worse than we originally thought. It's being blown out of proportion. This quote is another example of, again, her just downplaying everything. Nothing is being blown out of proportion here. In fact, I think in regards to how this was responded to and reacted to in 2020, I don't think this was blown into proportion enough. And I think this is just genuinely quite a disrespectful thing to say, given what she is speaking about in this video. But talking about disrespect, Colleen gets even more disrespectful after this, after she seems to pin the blame on Adam's parents. And you're probably noticing the familiar trend throughout this video of Colleen simply being unable to take any responsibility. She'll be like, oh yeah, maybe I shouldn't have done this thing, but what about this guy? Every single time.
He also mentioned in his video that his mom was uncomfortable with me, which was surprising and shocking for me to hear, because I was always under the impression, due to the things he told me and the things that I saw on the internet, that she not only was aware of our interactions, but she was very supportive of him being a fan of mine. She commented on a photo of him this year at my show, saying how it was such a fun night. She gave him a birthday card when he was 16 with me on it, and he let me know multiple times how much his parents loved me and watched my videos. So this was surprising for me to hear, because if I had known that, I would have stopped all interactions with him if I ever knew his parents were uncomfortable.
Now, the reason I think that Colleen is bringing up the parents and kind of being like, oh, I didn't realize that they were uncomfortable, is because, again, she wants to pin the blame on others rather than herself. Now, in regards to Adam's parents being uncomfortable, I'm pretty sure in his recent videos about this situation, he said that Colleen, and also in his original video, that his parents were uncomfortable, in particular in the panty situation, hence they took them away. But I think what Adam did there was calm his parents down, as he was at the time an impressionable superfan who probably didn't want his parents to stop him speaking to somebody who he was a massive fan of. But also, ladies and gentlemen, Adam has clarified that his parents at the time weren't necessarily aware of the extent of the things being discussed between Adam and Colleen, and just in general the extent of his friendship with Colleen.
She basically says that it was my mother's fault for not telling her that she was uncomfortable. And I'm not going to reiterate this story, but if you watch my last video of my relationship with Colleen Ballinger, I talk about how basically my mom didn't know about anything because Colleen Ballinger told me not to tell my parents about anything because she was trauma dumping to me and she knew that my parents would make it stop. And I thought I was so stupid that I thought I was protecting my friend for not telling my parents everything.
And yeah, when you go and watch the video that Adam was referencing there, you can see that there were a lot of screenshots shown. And in these screenshots, I believe Adam is 15 years old and it's him and Colleen meeting up in Dublin to go for lunch. And in these messages, Colleen is clearly very shocked that Adam's parents are coming to this meetup, and Adam gives his reasoning for why this was.
My mom knew that they had been there for a while and they weren't going to hang out with me. I think my mom was starting to catch on at that stage, so she stays on the street. I did not know that my mom was staying on the street, so it was news to me. And then I go, my parents are so mad, and she goes, wait, are your parents coming? What's happening? I'm confused. Because the worst thing for Colleen is for my parents to be there because she can't talk to me inappropriately.
So yes, ladies and gentlemen, I think it's very obvious to what was going on here. Colleen deliberately did not want Adam's parents knowing about the extent of what they were speaking about, just in general, their friendship, whatever relationship dynamic that they had. Colleen did not want the parents knowing, and that's why she reacted like this in these messages. So the fact that she has tried to pin the blame on Adam's parents is just absolutely insane to me, because the reality is the only reason that she's trying to do this is just because she's trying to push the blame onto others. But Colleen, you have the moral responsibility as an adult, as I keep saying, to not speak to children. From how it was described, Adam was keeping a lot from his parents, so I don't think that his parents genuinely thought that, oh, their 13, 14-year-old son was besties with some 33-year-old famous person on the internet. They probably just thought that, I don't know, maybe there was like a fan group chat or fan forum that Adam was involved in. But either way, that isn't a justification for any of Colleen's actions, and she's only saying this to make it look less bad on her and more bad on Adam's parents, when the reality is the only person that should be blamed here is Colleen Ballinger. And again, I do want to bring up the fact that this video was viewed as a wonderful response from Colleen, and I'm just confused why. There is no actual good responses so far. You can't just look at something she's saying and be like, oh yeah, fair enough, and then be like, oh, I do still disagree with you, but that was a good point, because sometimes when there is a terrible response, there are sometimes a few good points put out there, but in this video, there's just none. There's absolutely zero. It's just complete misconstruing of the timeline, the situations, and everything, and it only continues to get worse. Because after this, we then get into the conversation of Twitter accounts, because yes, for a very short period of time, Adam actually ran the Miranda Sings Twitter account, which, if you somehow didn't know at this point, I don't know how, you're like an hour and a half into this video, Miranda Sings is obviously a character that Colleen Ballinger created. It's incredibly unfunny in my personal opinion, but, you know, 12-year-olds liked it at the time, because they were 12 years old, and Colleen, you shouldn't speak to those 12-year-olds. But yeah, it was a character, it was very successful, and Adam had the privilege of running that account for like a day.
Another thing I think is important to address from his video is that he did have access to my Miranda Sings Twitter account for one day, not for years, and I want to just go over how that whole situation went down.
Now, once again, we have, yet again, another lie, because nobody has said that Adam had that account for years. Nobody. And I know she doesn't directly say Adam there, but it's very obvious to me what she is trying to do. She's trying to make it out that, oh, everybody's been saying that Adam's been running the account for years because of the video that I'm responding to, because what she is saying in this video is a direct response to Adam's video, and by her saying this, she's going to make her audience think, oh, Adam said he ran it for years when he actually didn't, and Adam's the liar, when the reality is, Adam only said that he ran the account for a day and a night.
So then I got into the account and she basically just sent me a message saying go crazy. So what I had to do was tweet, respond to fans, talk to fans, basically just get hype about Miranda again. So I spent my entire day and night talking to fans on the Miranda Sings account.
So yeah, this is kind of wild to me that Colleen would just plain face basically lie to everybody and seemingly get away with it, because it's very clear what the truth is here. Adam ran the account for a day, but also Adam did do work for Colleen, just not running the account for quite a while. Because Adam shows in his video for a long time he had been sending Colleen images that he's edited, funny ideas and funny things to post on the social media accounts, and this is why he got access to the actual account itself, because Colleen seemingly felt bad that Adam was doing so much free work. But for some reason in her video she decided to mention, oh no, he wasn't running it for years, like anybody was ever really saying that when absolutely nobody was. I don't understand how with every scenario she feels that she needs to change the context of everything. It's just so unbelievably disingenuous, but she keeps on doing it even in the more minimal points. And with that, we're gonna move a bit further on to where she actually apologizes for her oversharing. And oversharing is an underestimation of some of the things that she has done.
I love talking to my fans. I love interacting with my fans. My fans are many different ages. So yes, there are some teenagers, but there's also adults. I love supporting them, supporting their passions, learning about them in the same way that you like to do that for me. To me, you aren't just my fans, you're my friends. We all have seen me cry way too many times on this channel about things I probably should have kept to myself. I definitely overshare, and I have definitely overshared with fans when they have asked me what's wrong, or ask me how I'm feeling, or try to console me when I'm feeling down. I definitely have overshared in the past with them and talked with them a little too much when I should have kept things to myself or talked to family or close friends instead.
Colleen Ballinger, and just in general to YouTubers, your fans, especially your underage fans, are not your friends. What she is saying here is just an outright massive red flag. And in regard to the things that have come out in 2020 and the things that I've shown throughout this video, the only reason that she is saying this is an attempt to get ahead of pretty much everything and also just portray it in a more innocent way. Because yes, in 2023, a lot more context has come out since then, and yeah, I think the only reason she's saying this is because she knew that that stuff was originally going to come out, and she just wanted to basically get ahead and make it seem like she actually wasn't doing anything with any bad intentions, and she was just trying to make friends. It's an extremely manipulative thing, especially when you look into the actual context of the messages that she was sending to some of her fans in group chats where there were a lot of underage people, and she's kind of brushing past everything because I don't think she wants to mention the specific details of her messages, so instead I will do that for you, Colleen. Colleen, I would like you to answer, why did you send... I'm only laughing because it makes me uncomfortable, but Colleen, why did you send messages into group chats asking teenagers if they're still virgins still, and also asking teenagers for ass pics? Colleen Ballinger, would you really describe that as oversharing, or would you describe that as an incredibly inappropriate thing to do, which could begin with the G word, which I won't say for YouTube age restriction reasons, but it's a heavy accusation a lot of people have been making towards Colleen, and honestly, I can see why people were making and are making these accusations, because no grown adult should be saying these things to teenagers. I don't want to sound like a big old reactionary conservative YouTuber here, but if a 33-year-old male man, big dude, sent these messages to a 13-year-old girl, we'd be getting the pitchforks out. We'd be saying, you're going to jail, son. So why is it any different here? But for some reason, because this is 13-year-old Adam Mcintyre, people aren't taking this seriously. People are saying, oh no, yeah, this is all being blown out of proportion. No, it's not. We're not actually taking this into proportion enough. This whole situation is mental, and the fact that this person still has fans, which are apparently now doxing people for even speaking about all of this, is just wild, and it really does just show how militant her fan base are and how she has deliberately made that audience be that way by cultivating it in the way that she has. This entire response video is just outright manipulative, disgusting, and just in general deceitful. I'm honestly shocked that people saw this in 2020 and thought, oh yeah, this is a really good response. And I know I keep saying that, but given everything, given how she has described some of her actions, it's just absolutely insane to me. And people can say, oh, well, we didn't know the context of some of the things sent in the group chats. Okay, but you knew that she sent underwear to a child. So why did we not all back then just say, hey, this is wrong? And honestly, I feel bad for not looking into this in 2020, because I should have, and I genuinely am quite apologetic to Adam for that. And obviously, I can't cover every single topic, but I'm genuinely shocked that I did not know the sheer nature of the details happening in this situation. But in 2020, as I keep saying, this response was taken very well. Adam was then dubbed a gossip because of everything that Colleen was saying in her video. People were going to Adam, hate bombing him, saying that he was a liar, and just in general harassing him for 3 years straight. And if any other fan out there dared to speak up against Colleen Ballinger, they would be shut down as a liar, they would be harassed, some would apparently be doxxed. It just became an extremely toxic situation which Colleen Ballinger caused via her lies, deception, and manipulation. But with all of this conversation about Colleen, with everybody on the internet pretty much discussing this, it caused a lot of controversy in Colleen's fan base, because obviously Adam was seen as a super fan, but he wasn't the only super fan, and that does introduce a major player into this story, and that is KODEE Tyler, who was yet again another superfan of Colleen Ballinger and somebody that spent their days in the fanbase just in general having conversation with Colleen fans and just in general making friends in that fanbase. And on May the 5th, 2020, KODEE uploaded a video titled Colleen Ballinger didn't tell you this. And ladies and gentlemen, this video was pretty much another reason to why Colleen got away with absolutely everything in 2020, because pretty much this video just seems like pretty much a defense piece. It seems like it's another fan defending Colleen, coming out and just saying, no, Adam is a gossip, is a liar, is somebody that isn't to be trusted. And because you have a fan speaking against a fan, it caused a lot of people out there to start to even more believe what Colleen was saying in her original response video. And the main thing that this video tackled was pretty much just Adam lying about some of the serious accusations that he made in his video. But another accusation that was put towards Adam in this video was the fact, well, not the fact, but the alleged fact that he was actually not friends with the people involved, i.e. Corey and Colleen. Okay, Fraser from the future here. I just thought I'd interject and say I was about to play a clip from that video from KODEE Tyler, but I noticed on my YouTube channel when I uploaded this video from the Internet Archives, it came up with this saying that pretty much the video is automatically not being able to be uploaded because of some form of copyright strike notice from KODEE Tyler. And yeah, we're going to be skipping ahead in the story right now and just saying KODEE removed pretty much every single video that they've made about this situation, and this is going to make it a bit more difficult. So what I'm going to have to do with every single clip that I play now is basically I'm going to have to read like a transcript of what KODEE is saying in the video and still try and show some of the visuals. This is going to be a little bit annoying because in the actual recording, which I've already done, I'm reacting to the video itself and speaking about what's happened. So this may seem a little bit weird, but there's nothing we can really do. And yeah, this obviously doesn't look very good on KODEE, but let's get into the first quote-unquote clip. So the clip starts off with KODEE playing a clip of Adam speaking about his friendships.
As you all know, I was a good friend of Colleen and Corey.
And then after this, KODEE goes on to say, that's interesting because when I started to talk to KODEE in direct messages about this, he said he never had a friendship with you. And then KODEE shows these DMs and says, Corey told me not one DM, nothing. The only time I said his name was when we wondered if he ran a hate account because for years, people have sent us screenshots of him hating on us. I hate how he acted like I was friends with him. I've never even spoken to him. KODEE then goes on to say, this is a screenshot Adam used in the video where Corey says Colleen thinks blank is Adam, but you all blank who blank. Corey also sent me these screenshots to prove he's never sent a message on Twitter and Facebook, end quote, I guess, and then KODEE plays this video.
After 2016, during a live stream that I'll discuss later, me and Colleen started talking on a more personal level, and by 2017 we were good friends, or what I would have called good friends. Very quickly we started talking a lot, and my parents were really happy to see the fact that someone like Colleen Ballinger was so dedicated to talking to all of her fans. This slowly turned into me getting private details about her divorce and what was happening with the relationship with her ex-husband.
So after this clip, KODEE cuts to themselves and says the quote of, Adam never actually showed any proof that this allegedly took place, and because I know Adam lies several times throughout this video, I do not believe it. End quote. Now, ladies and gentlemen, at the time of release, I believe this video was a bit of a slam dunk for KODEE. Pretty much they had managed to convince the world, just like Colleen did, that Adam was a liar and was even lying about being friends with these people, and the internet was not happy. And yeah, maybe with a 5-second look into this video, I could maybe say, oh, I can understand why some people would now believe that Adam is a liar, because he said all these things about Colleen's interactions with fans, but then you've got another fan saying that's not true. And yeah, maybe with like some basic logic, we can say that's why this video at the time was actually fine. But honestly, no, I've gone through this video now, and this is my first viewing of it in 2023, and I am just in general confused how somebody could watch this video, complete it, and say, oh yeah, Adam is definitely in the wrong, when logic like this is being applied. So the clip I'm about to play, which I can't play because of copyright reasons, KODEE starts off with playing this clip of Adam.
Our relationship slowly turned into me always being asked to go find drama for her, whether it was about Josh, ex-friends, or fans. At the time, I saw this as harmless, and I was just really excited that my favorite person in the entire world wanted to talk to me. Now looking back though, I can see that it was just a way of baiting me money to constantly get me to get her the information.
Now after this clip, KODEE goes on to say this quote, Adam again doesn't show any proof that this actually happened, and it's a little odd to me that he would say an adult would ask a minor to go look up drama for her. Okay, so the little thing I'm confused about here is KODEE's whole argument is, oh, Colleen wouldn't have done that because Adam was a minor at the time, and like, that is, KODEE, I don't know if you realise, but that is the entire issue that we have in this entire situation. Colleen was interacting with minors in inappropriate ways. So what you are saying here actually makes no sense, because Colleen did send underwear to a minor, and that shows that she clearly does not care about breaking boundaries. And yeah, for some reason in 2020 this was seen as like some slam dunk. It was like a hit piece. It was a masterclass of proving Adam wrong, but no, I mean, what she is saying in this is just fundamentally wrong, but it only gets worse and worse, because the video itself is just full of contradictions and just in general poor applications of any attempts at logic, and I'm just gonna play you another example of that. So the clip from KODEE, which I can't again play for copyright reasons, starts off with KODEE playing a clip from Adam.
Oh no, I remember what happened. We walked up, and whenever I was hugging her, she said, I'm so sorry I didn't bring your lingerie. Yeah, because in her live stream, she said she wanted to send me her lingerie. I'm not lying, she did. Trust me. She hugged me and we were talking, and she was like, I'm so sorry I didn't bring your lingerie. My parents were right behind me, so thanks for that, Colleen.
Now after this clip, KODEE appears and basically goes on a big monologue where they say, so the parents heard about the lingerie before he got it, so why didn't the parents go up to Colleen after hearing that and say, hey, maybe don't send my kid lingerie, maybe send him something more appropriate. Okay, thanks. But then they let him get it. They already knew about it and they let him get it. So why were they so offended when they knew he was gonna get it and didn't do anything to stop it? That doesn't make any sense. So yes, ladies and gentlemen, the point that KODEE is trying to make here is, why did the parents not do anything in this situation? Why did they not angrily respond like they did after Adam made his video? My question is KODEE, did you even watch Adam's original video? Because in that video, he clearly states that his parents did angrily respond by taking away the underwear and getting very upset, like Adam said in his video.
So I did get sent the lingerie, and immediately whenever it arrived, my parents were furious. They were so angry, and they took it away.
So Adam pretty clearly answers some of the quarrels that KODEE had, but also even in the clip where he said that his parents were there when Colleen went up to him and mentioned the lingerie, he says this.
She hugged me and we were talking, and she was like, I'm so sorry I didn't bring your lingerie. My parents were right behind me, so thanks for that.
That's not an indication that his parents heard. That's not an indication that his parents knew that this was some big transactional thing that was actually going to happen. The parents may not have heard, but also the parents might have thought maybe it was just a joke. I don't think any parent would genuinely believe that somebody would so confidently say that to their child when they were right next to them. They either didn't hear or probably thought it was some form of a joke which actually had not happened. And if you were doing any forms of research or just, watched the video, you would probably know that. But again, this video was seen as I guess a good video. I don't really understand why. And now this video has been purged from the Jedi archives, and honestly, you can really see why, because it is just honestly a terrible video, and again, another example of victim blaming onto Adam Mcintyre. And also, I just don't understand the sheer amount of blaming of the parents in this situation. Colleen is the one to blame here. We should be focusing on the person that did these actions, and the logic of, oh, well, why didn't you just react in a certain way, isn't a justification. It doesn't change anything. It doesn't mean that Colleen is now redeemed because other people didn't stop her from doing her actions. It's not like if I was to go rob a store and, I steal the things and there's some bystander nearby, and you can't just say to the guy, oh, why did you not do something, and pin all the blame on him. No, I'm the one that's robbed the shop, not the guy that was just stood there innocently. I'm the one that committed the criminal actions, and Colleen is the one that committed the inappropriate actions in this situation, and we should be putting the blame on her and not spinning it onto other people. But as I said, ladies and gentlemen, for some reason what I'm saying right now wasn't really acceptable in 2020, and this just pretty much led to an even bigger hate campaign against Adam, with Colleen's video, with KODEE's video, and much more other people's videos being used to speak up against Adam. He claims that people cut ties with him, stopped speaking to him him completely, and just in general, the sheer amount of abuse Adam faced over the next 3 years was absolutely terrible, and was all because of Colleen Ballinger and the people that attacked Adam in defense of Colleen, using absolutely stupid and terrible logic, but just out of a desperate attempt to remain friends with Colleen Ballinger. It's a very sad story, but ultimately it is a great example of how cultivated the Colleen Ballinger fanbase was up until 2023. She could get away with pretty much everything. Like I said at the beginning of the video, there are so many content creators in 2020 which were exposed for, honestly, in some cases, lesser things, and they did not get back on top. They were not allowed to continue. But Colleen Ballinger, because of how some fans were back in 2020, she was able to carry on like nothing happens until 2023. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we have finally reached 2023, also known as the year of the downfall of Colleen Ballinger. And I know what some of you are saying, finally, because it's been around 2 hours and we have finally gotten to the stuff that's actually ongoing right now. And may I say, in 2023, it has just been an outright mess. Because for 3 years after 2020, the situation was buried and forgotten until recently, where old names started to resurface. Because like all situations on the internet and in general all situations in life, they're never truly over. And that was only proven further on May the 23rd, 2023. KODEE Tyler uploaded a video titled "Why I Left the Colleen Ballinger Fandom." And yes, my friends, I think you may be a little bit confused right now, because this is a video uploaded by the same person that we just covered previously, who was defending Colleen Ballinger and pretty much contributed to Colleen Ballinger getting away with absolutely everything, and now they're speaking negatively about Colleen Ballinger. What's actually going on here, you may be asking? Well, that's why we're going to be going through it for the next hour and a half. Now, this video is pretty much the complete opposite of what was said by KODEE in 2020, and this video sparked up the entire community on YouTube going absolutely crazy, and led to a month of exposés from ex-fans coming out and speaking against Colleen Ballinger, but also Corey DeSoto, of where pretty much their names have been absolutely dragged through the mud, and every single day at this point, it feels like another thing is coming out about these two. Whether it's ex-fans, whether it's just somebody in general making a video about them, Colleen Ballinger in 2023, up until this point, no longer seems to have a career, and that was all because of this video. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I think it's time we actually took a look at this video, and it starts off by pretty much KODEE explaining why Colleen's fanbase is the most toxic fanbase in existence. And look, I don't want to immediately start this off like I'm being a big old meanie, but that is incredibly ironic given the video that they made in 2020, but I don't really believe that there is a specific fanbase which is the most toxic fanbase in existence. I think that it is a very dramatic statement to say this fanbase is nothing but toxicity. As somebody that loves Star Wars, which is pretty much every Star Wars YouTuber out there, just consumes so much Star Wars content, I can tell you that there is a lot of toxicity in that fan base, but it doesn't mean that every single person in that fan base is an awful human being, and I think that applies to pretty much every other fan base. I'm sure that there are some, I can't speak English, my words aren't coming out correctly. I'm sure that there are some absolutely bloomin' gems in the Colleen Ballinger fan base, and I don't think that's necessarily fair to say they're all absolutely terrible, but also she mentions that Colleen is as bad as Shane Dawson, and if that is the case, then please, somebody for the love of God, get that cat out of there. I mean, she literally admitted to having a bit of a not so good relationship. But yeah, pretty much this video for the first 10 minutes, if not half of the video, is KODEE speaking about themselves, and there has been a lot of criticism towards this, and at the same time, I can see why, but I can also see that, yeah, they are going to speak about themselves because it is their personal experience, and maybe they need to try and justify some of their actions in the past, and with past things, KODEE then gets into the whole situation with Adam Mcintyre. And yeah, like earlier, we can't play this video because it will get copyright claimed, so I'm gonna have to detail everything said in the video. So yes, it starts off with KODEE at 12:36 in this video. That's when they finally get into the Adam bit, saying, and then we have the Adam Mcintyre situation, and then KODEE shows the original video. KODEE then begins the quote saying, this happened, and at the time I was dealing with the Ballock situation, so if you ever want to watch my Ballock series, that's hot tea. Then KODEE says, he makes this video about Colleen, and like shares all these DMs about Colleen, and I'm like, wow, not her literally manipulating a child to work for her for free, and trauma dumping, because that's the phrase for it. It's trauma dumping, not her trauma dumping on a child. KODEE says, I was literally flabbergasted when this happened. I saw this video and my immediate thought was, what? Like when he first started talking about when Colleen would talk about her divorce with him, I'm like, he's a literal child. Why are you trauma dumping on a child like you're a grown adult, like maybe get a therapist? That was one of my issues. I would trauma dump in group chats when I should have trauma dumped to a therapist. I should have been paying them hundreds of dollars to listen to my problems. I really try hard as an adult to not talk about my problems with other friends of mine because they're not paid to listen to that. Jesus, capitalism has really rotted our brains. Sorry, that's not a quote. It's just hard to hear what they're saying here. They go on to then say, and if I needed to talk about my trauma, I should have not given that trauma to other people because I've had to do that to others and I've politely told them to not give your trauma to me, get a therapist or get a journal. Okay, they then say that they were speaking to Spillchess in DMs about this, so I want to show you that as well, and then they show the DMs, and they say, I was having a conversation with Spillchess about Corey and his likes after the Adam Mcintyre video dropped, and so I screen recorded this and I want to show it to you, and then they then show a screen recording of Corey's likes, and yeah, the video is Adam getting mocked by clown music, which Corey liked, and that video ends, and KODEE says, I was not on their side, and I was showing concern about Adam being bullied by the community, and for, oh my god, I need to make a video, but I was already working on my Ballock's video, so I needed to finish that, and then work on the Adam video, and I wanted to wait and see what happened. I'm going to show you these DMs now between me and Colleen and me and Corey, because I think you need to see these, and then she shows a DM from Colleen, which says, I want to reach out to you privately and in confidence, and let you know why I'm staying silent. After he sent me that message that he has now made public, I responded to his messages immediately, and then received a message from his mother through his DMs asking me not to speak to him. I now realize I should have never been communicating with him in the first place, and then KODEE cuts off and shows themselves again saying, yeah, duh, he was a child. Now, there's a lot we kind of need to go through here. That was a very long clip, and there's a lot of information that we need to kind of dissect and break down. Firstly, obviously, liking tweets bullying a child when you are the creator involved in those controversies is obviously and naturally completely and utterly indefensible and outright disgusting. The more I hear about this Corey DeSoto person throughout this entire situation, the more I think this person is a complete and outright disgusting bellends. Like, I don't even know them personally. They may be watching this video getting all angry and tensing up and great. Please just don't take your anger out in messaging fans in a group chat getting all pissed off about me. Just go confide in an adult. Get angry at me to an adult. Somebody of 30 years old of age. Somebody the same age as you. Not a 14-year-old. But secondly, Colleen in her message saying that she realizes she shouldn't have been communicating with him in the first place is just utterly hilarious. Because she's saying this whilst communicating with another fan. It's like, mate, just make your logic a little bit more sensible here. And I probably should bring in the whole age aspect things to make things a little bit fair. Of course, Adam at the time was 17 to 13 years old, and I believe KODEE was around 30 years old. So yes, one of them is an adult and one isn't an adult. But at the same time, I honestly just don't think you should be befriended super fans. Now, maybe just somebody being like, oh yeah, man, I like your content. I'm a fan of your content. That's different. That's not a super fan. That's a regular human being. But KODEE was clearly somebody who was dedicated to the absolute maximum, writing fan fictions about really uncomfortable stuff that I'm not going to detail. But if you really want to find it, go watch KODEE's original video. But yeah, this is somebody who I really don't think a celebrity should be befriending if that person is a God's defending superfan of them. Because you know the only reason Colleen was befriending these people was because she wanted these people like KODEE Tyler to do her dirty work for her. She wasn't going to come out and defend herself if she didn't have to. Instead, she would have her militant fans do it all for her. And that's clearly what happened back in the day of 2020, where KODEE Tyler came out and outright slandered Adam Mcintyre. And look, I know I've said this phrase quite a lot throughout this video, but it only gets worse. And if you've been counting how many times I've said it only gets worse throughout this video, please just comment down the number below. I'd really appreciate it. But ladies and gentlemen, it only gets worse. Now the clip starts off with the DMs being shown previously from Colleen, and I've just realised as well from watching this clip from KODEE that Colleen's name isn't Ballinger, it's Ballinger, and I feel like everybody's been getting mad at me for 2 hours straight, and I'd firstly like to apologise, but secondly, I don't actually care. But thirdly, let's get into the actual quote, where KODEE says, Adam isn't the only child that she was talking to. She was literally in DMs talking to children about sex. Here's one, and they show a DM saying, are you a virgin? This is Colleen in a group chat of children. They're called the Weenies. This is a group chat, and if you're in a Colleen Ballinger fandom, you know about this group chat. And then they show another DM saying, what's your favorite position? And then KODEE says, these are children. And one of the things I think is interesting about this from the Colleen Ballinger situation is here is a screenshot from Adam's video. This is about when Colleen was queerbaiting. I made a video about that. The situation I thought was Colleen, and I found out from this video that Adam actually posted that queerbaiting thing and that it was Adam, and I'm not mad as he's a kid. It doesn't matter. He's a child. Children make mistakes. And then KODEE shows one of the DMs between Adam and Colleen and says, she's like, am I gonna get in trouble? Be careful. I don't want to be in a scandal and have to apologize. And KODEE then says, not even showing sympathy towards how he's reacting to this whole situation. It's all about her. I think it's very important that you realize that this is all me. And then they show another DM and say, I think this is one of the most important messages from Colleen, and shows the DM which says, I don't want to be in a scandal and have to apologize. And KODEE then says, yeah, I can tell you don't, because look at what you did. Look at you messaging me. This is her freaking out. And then KODEE shows another DM where Colleen is saying that she isn't mad and that she's just paranoid that people will get mad at her and that she doesn't want to have to apologize. And KODEE then says, so she doesn't care about how she hurts people, she only cares about having to apologize. Why did I not wake up sooner? Now, my non-parasocial friends, once again, there is a lot of information that we need to take in, dissect, and break down here. But the first thing I kind of want to tackle here is, you may be thinking to yourself, this video is a bit weird, it's a bit strange, given some of the things that we've gone through in this video, because obviously, in 2020, KODEE was saying outright the opposite things to what she just said in that clip. In this clip, you'd think she's somebody who's hyper aware of everything and has always been, even back in 2020. But we know that's absolutely not the case. So obviously, what's going on here? I guess you can say there was a change of heart, but honestly, I'm not really sure that's going to outright explain this insane change of thought in general. And yeah, KODEE does go on to, I guess, give some form of explanation about why this happened. And it's up to you whether you believe KODEE. For me personally, it is a little bit difficult to kind of see how this massive change has happened. It is the outright opposite of what was said, but I kind of do have my own personal experience with this, which I will explain after this clip of KODEE giving their reasons. So KODEE says, I think Colleen messaged me so I would do her dirty work for her, and she tried to get me on her side, and it worked, sadly. And then it cuts to a jump cut of where KODEE then says, now I believe the reason that she DM'd me was so that I would make this video, and then KODEE shows the video that they made in 2020 defending Colleen. KODEE then says, I believe she DM'd me so I would make a video defending her, and it worked. I was so excited when she messaged me. I was like, oh my god, she's confiding in me. I was gonna be her knight in shining armor. KODEE is absolutely right in what they're saying here. That is exactly what was happening in this situation. Colleen Ballinger did not want to put out a defense. She wanted somebody else to do their dirty work, as I have said throughout this video. And previously, I did just mention that I have had my own previous experiences with changing my mind on certain things on the internet from the complete opposite to what I was saying in the past. And that person is... sadly, Shane Dawson, I know. At one point of time, I was a big old Shane Dawson fan. Oh, hard to say nowadays, but I was, and there was good reason for that. I didn't really know about pretty much any of the bad stuff, and most of it was at one point of time proven as false. There was some weird out of context quotes going around, which were argued to just be out of context jokes until more and more came out in 2020. And back in 2018, I was a fan of the guy, as I think most of us were, and people do try to say that they weren't, but let's be real, most of the internet were. Shane Dawson was getting around 25 million views a video with nothing but support at the time, with obviously a few people speaking against it, but for the most part, on the internet, everybody at one point was a fan. And with that, at one point, I did actually get in contact with Shane, and we did seemingly become acquaintances, friends, and in hindsight, after everything, I can relate to what KODEE is saying here, because to me now, I feel like Shane Dawson only really tried to befriend me because I was a, I guess, up-and-coming commentary channel with an opinion, people were listening to me, and I think Shane Dawson didn't want to have somebody like me go against him. I believe at that point of time, the only commentary channel speaking against Shane was D'Angelo Wallace, which is quite ironic because D'Angelo was the person that seemingly started the downfall of Shane Dawson, and I really wouldn't have been surprised in another timeline, in another multiverse, Shane Dawson would have tried to befriend D'Angelo Wallace if D'Angelo had never made a video on Shane. Why would he have done this? Well, because he wanted to control the narrative, just like he did with me, and just like Colleen did with KODEE Tyler. But that doesn't mean I'm going to excuse absolutely everything that KODEE did in the past, and I will give my reasons for that, but firstly, I do just want to play another clip from KODEE's video of when they explain why they were so nice to Colleen, even after Adam's video. So the clip once again starts with KODEE showing the DMs between them and Colleen, and says that when KODEE said that Adam was lying, KODEE was only doing this to get Colleen to tell stuff to KODEE for KODEE's video. KODEE then says, I wanted her to like me. I didn't actually know if she was lying or not. I didn't care. I just wanted her to notice me, and if I'm being honest, I was a mentally ill person, and the person I idolized was messaging me. And then there's another jump cut, and KODEE goes on to say, I want to explain why I was much nicer than I should have been to Colleen when she sent me that long DM about Adam. I had not seen everything at that point, and when I got that DM, I had only seen the Adam video. I hadn't seen all the massive threads, and then KODEE goes on to list all the things that Colleen has been called out for, and then says, there were so many things that I hadn't seen yet, so I was just in the dark. I had rose-colored glasses on. I didn't know how bad of a person she was, and it's just really sad, and I think that's why I was still trying to be on her good side, even though I didn't really like what she was doing to Adam. I really just wanted to get DMs for my video, and I really wanted something that other people didn't have, and I was the only person she was speaking to in the drama community, and I didn't want to mess this up and have her go away and not say anything, because I was afraid she wasn't going to apologize, and I thought maybe I could get her on my side and I could get her to say something. I don't know, it was a hot mess. Now yeah, as I said previously, I've had my own experiences with being niced up by a content creator for, in my opinion, malicious reasons, and here, whilst I can have some levels of empathy, I just can't look past it. Now, as I mentioned with Shane Dawson in the past, when I was a fan of Shane, I didn't really know about all of the bad things and all of the context behind everything, but then after loads of videos came out about Shane, a bigger picture started to get painted, and I changed my tune pretty quickly. But the problem is with KODEE didn't change their tune. KODEE knew that a 30-year-old woman sent underwear to a 13-year-old child, but KODEE called Adam a liar. KODEE made a video completely going against Adam. KODEE is a reason to why Adam was victim blamed and harassed and bullied on the internet for 3 years straight. Why is this video taking so long now? Why did this video only come out 3 years after the situation? I appreciate a change of heart, but personally, I can't not have a bad taste in my mouth. I know that this video probably is genuine, but I just don't think that that's an excuse for absolutely everything. Now, I'm not saying that you should go and harass KODEE Tyler or bully KODEE Tyler, or there should be like some form of social social apology massive thing of where they have to atone for everything that they've done. I just think that KODEE needs to understand why a lot of people on the internet may not want to be exactly a fan of KODEE or just in general accept KODEE's apology, and in particular Adam Mcintyre. I don't think that Adam has to accept an apology. I don't think Adam has to even, pay attention to KODEE. I think that Adam, if he really wanted to, could still be against KODEE given absolutely everything. But ladies and gentlemen, this doesn't mean that all blame needs to be put on KODEE. Obviously, there is one or two people here that we need to look at. Colleen and Corey. Because these two people have very obviously done something a lot of content creators do, which we've been speaking about, of befriending fans or befriending YouTubers in order to control the narrative. As I said, I think Shane did it with me, I think Gabby Hanna did it with me, and I think Shane Dawson also did it with Bobby Burns. Bobby did a very, very good video in hindsight, which was absolutely lambasted by everybody, and Shane Dawson took advantage of that situation and made Bobby out to seem like a bit of a joke. I think he did this on purpose to control the narrative, and I think this whole situation with Colleen is pretty much the exact same thing. Colleen wasn't friends with these people, she just wanted to have a militant fan base. And that's only proven even further from KODEE's video, where in the next clip they go on to say, I was gonna say whatever I needed to make her think I was on her side, because I wanted her to like me. I'm just gonna be honest, that's what it was. The red flags were literally waving at me in the face, and I was just like, la 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 la, not even paying attention to them. And then KODEE shows a DM of theirs to Colleen saying, do you mind if I include the DM proving that he lied in my video? And then it cuts back to KODEE saying, because I wanted those DMs and I wanted to be the only person who had them. And then here's what Colleen said in response, and they said, even though it will protect me, I don't want our DMs included. Then it cuts back to KODEE, and KODEE says, babe, and looks at the screen like really awkwardly and just goes, so what's this then? And cuts to Colleen's video about Adam showing the DMs in that video. And pretty much KODEE seems very annoyed that Colleen showed the DMs in her video but not to KODEE in private, and then goes on to show more DMs from Colleen saying, I don't know, I'm so nervous, I just want to do the right thing, I hate drama and confrontation and I don't want to bring him hate, I just want this situation over. And it cuts to KODEE saying, I don't want to bring him hate, makes a whole video on him. And then KODEE reads another DM saying, I want to respect his son's mum, and then KODEE says, well, never speak his name again. And then it cuts back to another DM from Colleen saying, I'm the adult here, I'm trying to navigate this maturely and correctly, I need to think about it, I'm sorry. And then KODEE says, then she uses the DMs herself. It seems that KODEE is very upset that Colleen wouldn't show everything to KODEE in private, but would use it for themselves in public. It's a very weird thing. If there's one thing that I'm confused about with this video, is that there are so many receipts, there are so many messages, horrible messages may I add, and I want to just ask Colleen the question of why you didn't need to do any of this. If there's one thing that I've learned over the last year of making these longer, big video essays, is it seems that in every single massive situation, they're so unbelievably self-inflicted. This did not need to happen. Colleen could have so easily avoided absolutely everything, but yet she chose to have these conversations with fans, fully knowing that they could be screenshotted and put out there at any moment of time. And Colleen, did you genuinely not think that these fans would actually put out this information? Because that's absolutely wild if so, and honestly, I'm kind of inclined to believe that. I genuinely wouldn't be shocked if Colleen was in a delusional point of where she genuinely believed that she had such control over these fans that they would never say anything. And you can say, oh, now you're just deep in it, now you're making the situation way bigger than it needs to be, but honestly, I don't think I am. Given everything that we've gone through so far, and everything we're going to go through in the future of this video, I think that this is a pretty valid argument. But surprisingly enough, it doesn't end there, because after this, KODEE then exposes Corey. So during the clip that I can't show you for obvious reasons, KODEE goes on a big rant about Corey DeSoto's behavior during 2020, and KODEE starts this rant off by saying, Corey was literally sending me stuff about Adam. Like, I don't think people understand this. Corey messaging me here, and then KODEE shows the DMs, this is all manipulation. Like, I want people to understand this, and all of this is manipulation. They were planning this. You can't tell me that this wasn't strategy. They were trying to make me to make a video to see the backlash I would get talking about Adam, so they knew what they could talk about. Good job. You really manipulated me. Good job. Then Corey was like, for the record, and then KODEE shows DMs, I've never had a friendship with him, and then KODEE says he's talking about Adam here. Adam deserves to see this. Everyone deserves to see what these people are. The only time I said his name, again showing the Corey DMs, was when we wondered if he ran a hate account, and then it cuts to KODEE who says, this was the Galaxy Colleen account which I made a video on. And then it cuts back to Corey's DMs saying, because for years I have been sent screenshots of him hating on us, I hate how I acted like I was friends with him, and it cuts back to KODEE who says, babe, he was a child. I just want to know why you care so much about what somebody thinks about you in the fandom of your friend. Like, don't you have more important things to do? Do we want to talk about you looking at mature content in group chats with children? And then it cuts to these screenshots, which I'm going to blur for obvious reasons, but pretty much it is Corey responding to an explicit message in this group chat full of children, and then KODEE says, or how you were talking crap about Eric, Colleen's husband, because Flynn wanted to hold your hand and not his, and then also talking about drugs and alcohol with children. Oh, and here is you making fun of your friend and the content she puts on YouTube. You clearly are a mean girl, you just crap on everybody you know, and it's really gross. The whole nature of this thing genuinely, utterly disturbs me. The group chat name alone is Corey's clit, and that's just so utterly bizarre and grim to look at, especially considering the nature of just the young people that were in these chats. It's just utterly horrible, and again, I just want to know how these people thought they'd get away with it. Was it a hidden in plain sight sort of thing? Because it's just grim. With everything that we've gone through with Corey in this video, whilst I'm not going to be exactly focusing on him that much during this video, it just seems that Corey is pretty much guilty of everything that Colleen is also guilty of. But also, I do have to ask the question of why did it take so long for this information to come out? And I understand that some people take a long time to process information, but given everything that we've gone through today, and given everything that Adam presented in his video in 2020, not 2023, I feel like at least some people should have realized what was going on in the situation in 2020 to 2016, especially KODEE Tyler, who was an adult and could and should have come out and spoke about the inappropriate things in these chats. But despite the whole criticisms of KODEE and everything to do with this video, as I said, sparked up an absolute avalanche of just, in general, outrage towards, in particular, Colleen Ballinger. Over the last month, as I said, it has just been nothing but Colleen Ballinger's downfall, and it really doesn't seem like she can come back from this situation. And every single day, another thing comes out, another thing, and another thing. It is just absolutely wild, but honestly, given everything, I'm really not that shocked. And you may be wondering, well, with KODEE's video, how did Adam himself actually respond to it? Because obviously Adam was slandered 3 years previously, and I imagine it was a bit of a confusing moment to see what was going on in KODEE's video, the complete switch up out of nowhere, and Adam did actually respond to this. On June the 4th, 2023, Adam uploaded a video titled, I Was Right About Colleen Ballinger, and as you can see, the dislike ratio is very different to the dislike ratio in 2020. And pretty much this is a video of where Adam reacts to KODEE's video and just speaks about everything mentioned in KODEE's video and kind of goes through his own personal experience and kind of analyzes KODEE's apparent experiences and just in general gives his opinions on everything said in that video. And I said before, things were going wild, but after Adam made this video, it went even more crazier, because it seemed after all this time, Adam Mcintyre was finally vindicated, and the internet was finally starting to wake up about this situation. Finally, after 3 long years, people were on Adam's side. You had Twitter accounts speaking about it, YouTubers speaking about it, major media sites speaking about it. It was and still is absolutely everywhere. But with this, things didn't get worse, but things actually got weird. Because despite the success of KODEE's video and everything that KODEE was trying to achieve in that video, KODEE deleted pretty much every form of social media that they have. They went MIA, they completely disappeared, and people were just in general confused by this because the video was very successful. It did what they set out to achieve, so why delete the video and delete all other videos? It was very confusing, and apparently KODEE did this because they couldn't handle, I guess, the response. It was very stressful, but personally, it might sound a bit controversial, but I feel like if there's any way you can kind of repay your actions of 2020, it is to take some of the burden. Like, imagine the stress put onto Adam Mcintyre over the last 3 years, where he's been dubbed a liar, a gossip, over something where he was just trying to speak his painful story of where he is and was a victim. And Adam actually did respond to this in a video titled, "I Do Not Forgive KODEE Tyler." And in this video, Adam pretty much just reiterates the sentiments that I've been putting out in this video of Adam just in general being angry of, well, why did this take so long?
To know that everything that I've been dealing with for like 3 years, could have been stopped by information that KODEE was holding. And to think that the only reason that it's came out, so like to think that it couldn't have not came out, and it was for a selfish reason that didn't have anything to do with talking about victims, makes me so incredibly angry. To think that, like, what if it didn't? And I will always say thank you to KODEE, even now, for putting it out there, regardless of what the intentions are. But regardless of what the intentions are, I publicly and privately was forgiving KODEE, and to think that this information was just like readily available and it could have ended all of this. Could have ended all of this. Do you know that there's people within the community that have refused to ever interact with me? And that whenever I was at a VidCon party, whenever I was at VidCon, there were a couple creators that left the conversation whenever I was, like, in the group setting, that left the table whenever I joined, when my friends brought me over, because they said that I was a liar, for 3 years. And to think that the intentions behind finally speaking up would have been something that wouldn't have been just wanting to validate me, or tell the truth on my name, or end this. Is a really, really, really thing to have to feel. Like a really, really, really thing to have to feel.
Now, as you can probably tell, I completely understand why Adam does not forgive KODEE in this situation, and this is something that I want to quickly reiterate, which applies to a lot of situations. If you do something bad, if you don't necessarily stand by somebody who you probably should stand by, and then, you know, maybe a few months later or even a few years later, you then be like, oh, I'm sorry that I didn't stand by you, now I'm going to. That doesn't necessarily mean that the person you're saying sorry to needs to forgive you. They can appreciate the action. They can say, well, fair enough, I'm glad you've grown and changed, because growing and changing is a great thing, but it doesn't mean that everyone in the world needs to forgive you. And I think this is something a lot of influencers in particular need to learn. If you do something bad, you can grow and you can change, but that doesn't mean everybody in the world is going to forgive you and be on your side again. Growing and changing is dealing with the fact that you have probably done something bad and you need to deal with the consequences of that. Just apologizing isn't a get out of jail free card. It is a part of the growing and change aspect of things. Learning about why your actions have negatively impacted people is the prime part of growing. And I know I sound like I'm being like, oh, I'm so much better than you, but I myself, and I think a lot of people watching this right now, are also guilty of apologizing but also feeling upset that the person didn't forgive you in the past. This is something that human beings all of us have done at least one point in our life, and I think it's something that we can really change up on and try to fix about ourselves. And in particular, with KODEE in this situation, I think they need to understand that, and I think removing their videos wasn't a good thing, and I think that they should republish them because it could do a lot of good in rectifying the lies about Adam. And yeah, I get it. Adults can be manipulated too. KODEE could have been manipulated by Colleen. That's probably something that is something that definitely happened. But let's also go back at the story here and look at what happened. KODEE saw a child get sent a bra and panties by a 30-year-old celebrity, and their immediate reaction to that wasn't to say, "Oh, I hope you're okay," but it was to silence and intimidate that same child. Even in 2020, Adam Mcintyre was a child. A child was speaking about their very deep and personal story. Don't get anything wrong here. I don't think Adam Mcintyre wants this to be the story that he's known for, but sadly, it's most likely going to be that. I think Adam would have loved for this whole thing to not happen and him just be able to make his regular videos, but obviously, it cannot be that way. And I don't think Adam enjoys this, and if you've watched even one video, you will know Adam doesn't enjoy this. But sadly, even to this day, Adam is still being doubted as a liar, is still being called a manipulator, a gossip, and I think that's just completely unfair. At this point of time, Colleen Ballinger has not responded to absolutely anything other than her video in 2020, and when she does respond, I can kind of predict what the response is going to be. Yeah, you can probably tell this video has been it's been taking a long time to make, and well, I'm wrong here anyway. I am wrong, and we will get into that thing. But let's just listen to my prediction. It's gonna be her pinning the blame by, I don't know, taking messages Adam has shown and being like, "Oh, but what about this? You said this. We were friends. It was fun. We were all joking and having a laugh." But that doesn't change the fact that Adam was 13 and Colleen was 30. Either way, she was an adult. Adam was a kid. Nothing is going to change that, even if there was some jokes shown between them. Because Colleen should have known, even if she didn't have any bad intentions, she should not be befriending a very young superfan. And I think KODEE and adults should also have known this logic. And a justification of being a superfan and also being manipulated, I don't think is a very good excuse. Especially considering KODEE was in the fan chats. KODEE knew that there was young people in those chats seeing inappropriate things, and you know that because KODEE literally showed the messages. KODEE is the person that exposed everything in this situation involving the group chats. That's what lit the fire, the beacons of Gondor. That's why people are now speaking, because of the messages KODEE was holding all this time. And that does lead us in to the Weenies group chat. And yes, that is an actual real name to a real chat which caused the downfall of Colleen Ballinger. Oh no! So, throughout this video, I've been referencing a lot of screenshots from a lot of group chats, and you're probably thinking, well, where are all of these messages coming from? How have they randomly just spawned out of nowhere, and how did nobody really know about the existence of these group chats and all of these messages? And yeah, that does introduce the Weenies group chat, which apparently is a group chat that was created in the year of 2017 by a group of Colleen Ballinger fans, and it consisted of people mainly between the ages of 12 to 17 years old, and there were also a few people above the age of 18 in these chats, and the chat was primarily used for Colleen Ballinger's fans to interact with each other, speak to each other, and just in general bond over the Miranda Sings and Colleen Ballinger content platform thing, whatever this is. And one of those adults that was in these group chats was, of course, Colleen herself. She would regularly speak to her fans in these chats, and it appeared at the very beginning of these chats of where she was first put into them, it was genuinely quite wholesome intentions. Throughout this video, I've mentioned that sometimes YouTubers are added to chats and they probably will never say anything, but maybe now and again they might come in and say, "Hi, I hope you're having a nice day," and half the time it's probably not even them because it's probably just a press team treating it like a big fan club. And if that was what went down in these chats, then yeah, I really wouldn't have a problem with that. But as you now know, after the last 2 hours, obviously things took a turn for the worse in these chats. Colleen used these chats to have very weird, inappropriate interactions, and she may respond to this by saying, "Oh, I only went in there and occasionally did that." Well, you still did that, and it very much seems that from everything that we've gone through in the video today, Colleen Ballinger was deliberately cultivating an audience that was deliberately made to be malicious by creating that connection between her and the fans. It became a parasocial relationship, which is a phrase which has been applied to plenty of other YouTubers out there, but honestly, I think this is one of the best cases of it. And best not really meaning a good thing, obviously it's a terrible thing, but it's probably the biggest example I think I've ever seen. There is absolutely no reason for a YouTuber to be speaking to their fans in group chats in this way. But yeah, when the chat started, there were apparently wholesome intentions, but obviously it progressed, and I think that starts off with Colleen ranting in these chats about her divorce. In the previous video that we went over with Colleen, she mentioned that, yeah, she would overshare about very personal things, and I think that's what she's referencing in that video, but obviously she's not going to say it, because if like she had like a 25-year-old fan watching her video and she found out that Colleen Ballinger was speaking to 14-year-olds about a divorce, she knows that these people would say, yes, that's very weird, but obviously if she just kind of skims over it, briefly mentions it without going into detail, then people aren't going to look into it and they're going to be like, oh, she made a mistake. But the reality is these were the sort of messages she was sending. He's lied to everybody, said I cheated. When would I cheat when I've been working 24 hours a day? Yes, Colleen Ballinger has somehow defined human logic, and she doesn't sleep, she doesn't eat, she doesn't drink water, she just constantly works on this. And to be honest with you, maybe I can understand why she actually kind of lost her mind. He will regret it. I've never hurt a soul, but I will kick him in the balls. And as you can see, the fans were developing a personal connection. Colleen was deliberately getting her fans involved, and the fans seemed to believe that they had some form of personal connection here. They wanted to fight this guy. They wanted to harm this guy because of what Colleen was telling them from her biased perspective. And firstly, let's go over the whole argument of responsibility here. Because when you're going through a breakup with somebody, naturally, you're going to say some very harsh things about your partner, even if those things aren't true. You're ranting, you're raving, you're heartbroken, you're upset. That's perfectly normal and human, but you shouldn't be going and doing that to strangers on the internet that don't know you, they don't know the other person in the story, they're not your friend, and they are going to tell you in every situation that you are right, but they are also going to take what you say as gospel. Superfans will do this, and this could possibly lead to some serious repercussions. As we've seen throughout this video, Colleen clearly likes to put her dirty work onto her fans, and I really wouldn't be surprised if a lot of rumors were spread because of what Colleen was sending in these group chats, and I think that's deeply irresponsible. The fact of the matter is, we shouldn't be seeing these messages. Her young kid audience shouldn't have to know these things. This should be private, confidential information limited to her, her friends, and her family, but obviously, we now know that that very much was the opposite of that. It makes no sense. He tries to get pity for being heartbroken over me, but he constantly tries to drag me through the mud. You can't be heartbroken over somebody you hate, so which is it? Hi, everyone hates me. Good lord! Get a therapist, Colleen! Just pay the money! I don't know why you can't pay for, firstly, a PR team to run your social media account, so instead you resort to a 17-year-old superfan, but now you can't even pay, I don't know, $300, whatever therapy costs. Clearly I haven't gone to it either, but whatever it costs, to just speak to them about your issue. Speak to a grown adult. Just speak to a friend. Because these kids aren't your friends. They are, kids. They're children. They're children, Colleen. You're a weirdo. You're really weird. Like, seriously, this isn't even the weirdest stuff that she said in these chats, but it is just utterly disturbing and strange to see and I keep repeating myself, but to see a grown woman speaking to children about her divorce. And secondly, we need to move into talking about the repercussions and impacts that this sort of conversation could have on children. When my parents broke up, I was around the age of 10 years old, 11 11 years old. I was like becoming a teenager, and my parents, like most parents do when their kids witness their parents going through a divorce, struggle to kind of explain the situation because naturally they know you are a child. You don't really have enough life experience to understand what's happening. And the same even applies to the children in these group chats. They shouldn't be hearing this detailed stuff about a grown adult's divorce because they cannot understand that due to the lack of life experience and maturity that they have. Yet Colleen persisted in this and probably kind of changed their perspectives on life in general. When you have a grown adult saying a lot of things which you don't understand to you, that can alter how you think about things. As somebody that was on the internet at a very young age, like very young, and spoke to grown adults, I sadly, like, well, I don't know how to say it, I wasn't like anything, but my brain chemistry was like altered by having conversations regularly with adults on the internet, just in video games and stuff. As a kid, I probably shouldn't became friends with adults who just played video games with me, because the conversations I would have, they weren't bad, but it was just inappropriate. And when you're at that age, you simply don't understand what's being said to you, and it can seriously damage your brain and just in general your upbringing. It may sound like I'm reaching here. It's hard to kind of explain what I'm trying to get at, but if you're somebody that's been on the internet at a young age, you became friends with an adult on the internet, not even a famous one, just an adult, and you had a conversation with them every single day, if you're listening to this right now, you probably know where I'm coming from. It's kind of hard to explain, but in this situation, I think it's exactly the same, but even worse, because these people are super fans. It's inappropriate, it's wrong, and Colleen, you cannot justify this in any way, shape, or form. But, ladies and gentlemen, of course, it only gets worse, because as I said before, this wasn't even the worst part of these group chats. You've obviously seen some of the messages I'm now about to show throughout this video, but I feel like we need to go through them, not in detail, but just to really stamp down on how awful these are. For example, here is Adam saying his looks so good today, and yeah, Colleen replies saying, pics. And again, I should probably reiterate that Adam in these DMs is a child, and in fact, throughout their entire friendship, Adam was a child. There's no justifications for this, there's no defense of this, this is just outright wrong, and I'll bring up a point that I made up earlier. If this was a 30-year-old dude saying this to a little girl, he probably would be, you know, getting the threat of jail time. It was like the other week where there was a YouTuber who was calling like the LGBT community, but then when there was a situation of where a teacher her male student, he was acting like it was a good thing. I don't understand why young victims don't get listened to if they're boys. It very much, it's just a bizarre thing. And I'm not saying that all girls, obviously, I'm not saying that all of them get listened to, but it seems that there is a common theme that boys just never get listened to for the most part, because boys will be boys or something like that. It's messed up and it's so wrong, and this is another example of that. But even after this, we get into the more parasocial aspect of this group chat, and you can see she's saying things like, literally, y'all are my best friends, I'm serious. No, stop. Just it's so gross. So I'm gonna continue to read these. Hey bitches, when can we do a slumber party? Guys, I want to hang out with you and have a slumber party. 30-year-old has no business even suggesting having a slumber party with a group of children. That I can't even find myself to shout and scream about this, because it's just sickening, and I can't believe people even in 2023 are still attempting to downplay this, being like, oh, she didn't have bad intentions. It's like, well, I mean, I don't really care. That doesn't change the fact that she's asking to have slumber parties with kids, and she's asking for pics from kids, and she's sending underwear to kids. If there's no bad intentions there, then what are the intentions? You can say a murderer, in their personal opinion, didn't have bad intentions. They just wanted to get revenge, but on the grand scale of things, that's obviously still a bad intention. And also, I should say, as much as I haven't discussed him as much as Colleen, this also applies to Corey. As we saw earlier, he was also in group chats where incredibly inappropriate things were being discussed, and there was even a voice message which recently leaked after everything exploded after KODEE's video, and I'm just going to play it now, and pretty much this is Corey speaking in a group chat, and it's weird.
Hey everyone, it's Corey. I just wanted to record a voice memo because I have like a lot to say. But first of all, I just want to say that like I love all of you. Like you all honestly mean so much to me.
Oh my god.
You have no idea. I know that it sounds weird because I'm a full-grown adult and some of you are younger.
Oh my god.
And blah blah blah. Like I honestly think of all of you like as my best friends. Like I don't have friends.
Oh
and
god.
I'm a loner and I'm a loser. Like my only friend is Colleen.
Oh my god.
And like it's so comforting to like go online and talk to you guys and feel like loved and cared about because I love and care about all of you. And I trust you and like I like with all my friends I vent to you and when I'm angry and I feel better and I feel comforted by you all and I hope that I can do the same for you. But like this whole thing with Krista has just escalated into something really bad.
Now, my favorite part about this clip is he directly is like, yeah, I am a weirdo, and yeah, I am a loser.
It sounds weird because I'm a full-grown adult and some of you are younger. I don't have friends.
But he still continues, and he still says the things that he's saying, and once again, I'm gonna ring the bell which says, ding, 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 why did you think you'd get away with this, and why did you think this would never be leaked? Why would you say all of this stuff, and why did you think this was appropriate in the first place? And since the Weenies group chat was exposed, it seems that more and more members who were in these chats have spoken up and just exposed the true nature of the things that were going on in these chats. Adam himself made a tweet saying, the Weenies group chat consisted of mostly 13 to 17-year-olds when I was a part of it, and Colleen was making all inside jokes to do with things like periods or some shit, and she sent us this video and all of us had to go out and buy tampons and reenact it for the group. It was just so weird. And the video that he's referencing there, just gonna play the video now.
I swear I'm not high.
Yes, according to Adam, Colleen said to reenact that video with tampons to a group full of children, on top of all the other questions about periods and positions and all of that. And people are defending this, by the way, and it's not like people don't know the ages. Adam has very much spoken a lot about how young people were in this chat.
What I do remember in the group chat was there was a decent handful of people, and the two youngest were me and this other girl, and I was 14 and she was 15. We were the youngest, and then everyone else was like 16, 17, 18, 18. And I think there was probably one or two people that were like 19 or 20. And I remember back then being like, wow, they're old as like about like 19 or 20-year-olds, because I mean the majority
how many people were in this chat?
I mean, I would say because Colleen's sister-in-law was also in it, Jessica. So I think, and people would get added, and then if they did something wrong, Colleen would tell us remove them. So I think it's like stable, there was probably 10 to 12 people.
I'm stop you there. I'm sorry. If I ever had a group chat with 10 to 12 teenagers, I would be in jail.
Now, this clip comes from Adam speaking on the Dad's Challenge podcast, and pretty much on this podcast, he is discussing everything that we've spoken about in this video and all of the stuff that has transpired in the Weenies chat, and pretty much it's just as bad as we thought it was. I keep on bringing up the whole thing of Colleen was cultivating her audience in a deliberate effort of making them like militarized, where when somebody would say something bad about Colleen, they would get the pitchforks out and go to war. That's something which is very evident, especially from what Adam says here.
Did she do it because you're her main audience? I don't understand.
I think there was multiple reasons. I think on a baseline, she got so much out of us. Like, because we felt so close to her, she was constantly getting involved in things that then we would feel a personal connection to defend her with.
Yes.
Or we would be ride or dies because we would be like, oh, well, we're in the group chat with her.
But I think at a baseline, being a lot older and but like being older and looking at it now, I think it just stemmed from like a very narcissistic place of needing validation, because that's what it was. Like, we would talk in it, and I would talk about my day, or I would, you know, if someone was having a problem, we would talk about their problems or whatever. And a lot of days it would just be us talking, and then she would come in and say something, and we'd be like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. So I think it was a case of, she could come in at any time and talk to us for days on end, for hours on end or whatever. And we, no matter what she said, would be on her side. So I feel that it was a case of, this was a great place for this woman to get validation from.
Was there ever a moment in this chat or any time before we're going to move on to the time where you did work for her and stuff? Was there ever a moment in this thing where she's like, I want you to go watch this video, somebody made fun of me or did something, and asked you guys to go like check it out for her or engage with it in some way?
She would never explicitly come in and be like, someone has said this or this video, you know, whatever. But she would message and be like, I'm really sad, or I'm crying, or I'm having an awful day. And then we would be like, what's happening? And she'd be like, this just happened. This person made this video. This person made this tweet. This ex-friend is speaking up, and they're so wrong. You know my heart. You know my intentions. I'm so sad. And then we would be like, oh my God, they've made her really sad. They've made her really whatever. Then we would go. So she was intelligent enough to not be like, this person did this, go their way. But she would say along the lines of like, I'm so upset. We would ask why, and she would explain it, and then we would obviously go out of our way then to make the situation right.
But she wouldn't tell you not to.
No, she would basically heavily imply for us to do it.
And ladies and gentlemen, that is the crux of this entire thing. Colleen Ballinger was not friends with these people, and she was lying to them when she was trying to convince them that she was friends with them. I just want to sleep over. We're best friends. No, the only reason you're speaking to these kids is because they are immature and they don't have the adult perspective to realize that you are being manipulative. You are manipulating these kids into being like your little army. And when something bad happens to you, you don't have to respond, because your army will go and respond for you and probably harass and dox somebody and probably attempt to completely and utterly ruin their life. But Colleen, the problem is here is, just because somebody can ruin somebody else's life for speaking up against you, it doesn't void all of the things that we and everybody else has been speaking about for the last year. You could, like, I don't know, completely make somebody disappear. I don't know how, but you could. But that isn't going to make all of these allegations disappear. That's not going to make what transpired in the Weenies chat disappear. These things happened, and no matter how many people get threatened, no matter how many people get swatted or doxed or whatever's happened, it's never going to change the fact that this chat very much existed and you very much contributed to it, even if you are going to probably distance yourself in your inevitable response video. Because what I think is going to happen is, whenever Colleen finally decides to respond, because currently she is on tour, which is wild to me that there are still people going to these tours, but she is currently on tour, and that's probably why she's not responding, which... Okay, I'm interrupting, but I was right what I was saying here, okay? Yes, she has now responded, and yes, that will be in the future chapters of this video, but what I'm saying here, it's still valid. Isn't a justification. If you're facing the allegations that you are currently facing, you should just record a YouTube video being like, oh, sorry, even though that's not going to cover up for absolutely anything, you could just at least do that, and probably the only reason she's doing it is because she's hoping the whole situation dies down, which it absolutely is not going to. So when she does respond, I imagine she's probably going to distance herself from these chats, being like, oh, I didn't speak in them that much. You know, I occasionally came in and dropped a message now and again. They're exaggerating. I wasn't speaking in there all the time. But that doesn't change the fact that these messages do exist. You could have sent only these messages. The problem is you sent those specific dodgy messages to kids. But yes, with the Weenies chat exposed, it really looks like there is absolutely no way back for Colleen, and the only thing that it truly does do is absolutely vindicate everything Adam said in his original video in 2020. What's strange about this video is at the very beginning, obviously, we covered the first Adam video, and the thing is, we could have just covered that and ended the video there, because based on everything we've gone through since that part of the video, it's only just proven that everything Adam said in that video, in my opinion, seems to be absolutely true. But because of all the lies, deceit, manipulation, and just everything that we've gone through today, sadly, the truth could only be unveiled 3 years later. But ladies and gentlemen, of course, it only gets worse. So yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the final part of this video, also known as the conclusion.
Hooray!
Because yes, at this point of time, we have pretty much gotten to, well, this point of time. Congratulations, you've just wasted 3 hours of your life watching this video, and you should feel really bad about yourself. But no, basically, we've covered every single major point that we need to. We've gone from 2020 to everything sparking up in 2023, and of course, Colleen Ballinger at this point of time has not responded. But despite that, Colleen's career is seemingly now over, as is Corey DeSoto's. At this current point of time, every single day, a YouTuber releases a new documentary speaking about the mishaps and horrible actions of Colleen Ballinger.
Oh
I understand that I may have upset a lot of people throughout this video, but yes, a lot of people nowadays are making a lot of videos speaking about Colleen, speaking about their experiences, other people's experiences, pretty much what I'm doing right now, probably in a much more concise and articulate way. Sorry for wasting your time. But yes, it seems right now with everything that's going on, it's resulted in Colleen losing subscribers, fans, views, and just in general everyone as the days go by. It seems that once a day I will log on to Twitter sadly and I will discover that, oh, a fan has turned against Colleen Ballinger and they are airing their experiences and just in general interactions with Colleen. And I think just in general this whole situation has been quite shocking for a lot of people. I think people used to think that Colleen was somebody who was a wholesome content creator, a wholesome chungus you may say, and just in general somebody who could never do something wrong. And it just seemed that there was never ever going to be anything particularly malicious like the things that we've gone through, but obviously that all happened. That all happened, and there's nothing really more we can say, and I guess we're just gonna have to end the video there and say, you know what, fair play, Colleen Ballinger, you've messed up, and see you later guys. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Drums in the deep. What? What? No. No, no, no. No, don't say I've got to record for another hour! Ladies and gentlemen, I thought that this could have been a nice 3-hour video. I thought we could conclude everything, wrap it up and go home. But no! Obviously, in the last week, things have just gotten a little bit wild. Good f***ing bye! Yes, on the 28th of June 2023, Colleen Ballinger uploaded the video titled Hi. And ladies and gentlemen, as you most probably know at this point, yes, this video over the last week, and maybe you're watching this in a year's time, but this video of the week of release absolutely took over the internet, and for good reason. Now, I tried to stay away from this apology. I wanted to give a raw reaction. I truly wanted to only look at this apology when I was doing the research and script for this video. But oh my lord, this apology is now being dubbed as the worst apology in YouTuber history. And ladies and gentlemen, may I just say, YouTuber apologies are like modern culture. The 7 wonders of the world, forget them. The pyramids of Giza, no thank you. Laura Lee's tearing up in a video. The Hanging Gardens of Babylon, sorry, I'm not interested, because, you know, Shane Dawson just said that he didn't spaff on his cats. The Lighthouse of Alexandria, no, I don't want to hear it, because Colleen Ballinger has just whipped out the banjo and is singing a song about not diddling kids, which is honestly the most ironic thing in all of this. Yes, if you didn't know, Colleen Ballinger uploaded this 10-minute apology where the entire video is her singing a song with a ukulele, and honestly, I think that's the biggest crime in itself. Because firstly, she's apologising or saying that she didn't diddle kids whilst trying to make a nursery rhyme out of it, which is obviously extremely ironic, but also, ladies and gentlemen, this instrument that she's holding right here, this little thing, this instrument is the worst thing that has ever been invented.
Shut up, man!
Oh, but I play the ukulele. No, you don't play it. You just strum it and pretend that you're a musician. You're not. We can all do it. It takes about 2 minutes. That's one. That only illustrates my point even further. And look, I understand I may have offended a few people there. I truly do get it. Maybe in some culture the ukulele is some protected sacred thing, and maybe I'm gonna get cancelled for this, but at least in my cancelled apology video, I won't be playing the ukulele. I'll play a better instrument. I played drums for like 10 years. Maybe I'll play that. A little drum solo whilst I'm saying... I'm sorry for disrespecting someone's culture. Maybe that. Maybe that, because that sounds better. At least there's some enjoyment and talent there. But yeah, this is now officially the worst apology of all time. And look, at this point of time, everybody has covered this. I thought with this video that I'm making, oh, not everybody is making Colleen videos. Maybe I can, you know, get away with it, and maybe I can take some time with this. Oh. Maybe not. So instead, I think what we're just going to do is say, yeah, it was a bad apology, but honestly, I think you've all heard everything said about this apology. We all know why it's bad. We all know it's manipulation, lying, and stuff like that. So I really don't think I need to say anything other than, yeah, apology, bad. And I think with that, let's just move on to the conclusive part of this video, because you don't need to hear another white commentary YouTuber giving their opinion on an apology video. So... conclusion. Okay, alright, I'll go through it. Hooray! So yes, it's a 10-minute and 19-second long video. When I first heard about it, I thought at least in the first part of the video, she might talk for a bit, given the sheer nature of the allegations that we've gone through today, and then eventually, yeah, maybe she breaks into a little sing-song. I truly did believe that Colleen Ballinger can't be as unhinged as somebody that would sing for 10 minutes straight about grooming allegations. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm afraid my faith in Colleen was sadly proven to be false.
Hey, it's been a while since you saw my face. I haven't been doing so great, so I took a little break. So a lot of people are saying some things about me that aren't quite true. Doesn't matter if it's true, though. Just as long as it's entertaining.
Colleen, my friend, can you just explain to me what's not real about these things? Can you explain to me what isn't real here? Because I'd love to know. Is this not real? Is this not real? And most importantly, is this not real? And again, I want to say it for a second time, but I do think it's quite incredible that in a response to messaging children, she is singing a song which would necessarily probably be played for children. But honestly, if any of you play this video to your children, if you're watching this right now and you've got kids and you play this when they're in the room, God, you're going to jail, sunshine. You're going to jail. But obviously, you know what this response is. You know how it starts. She immediately starts passively aggressively speaking about toxic people and just ranting about how everybody is a gossip, and obviously she is completely in the right. You know, it's always strange when somebody makes these apology videos and there's millions and millions of people speaking against them, and it's always weird because the one person who is now seemingly apologizing is the one that is in the right, and the millions of other people are all in the wrong. It's like when you've got that friend who's an absolute bellend in the friendship group, and everybody in the group agrees they're a bellend, but they just can't handle it. There's like 20 people saying, "You're a bellend, mate." And they're like, "No, I'm the one in the right here." It's like, usually, not always, but 9 times out of 10, if there's 100 people and 99% of those people are saying, yes, that person is a dick, that person is usually going to end up being a dick.
Right? You guys having fun? All aboard the toxic gossip train. You're chugging down the tracks of misinformation. The toxic gossip train. You got a one-way ticket to manipulation station.
Hello everyone, I can't play guitar, but I'm gonna make a video using it, and I'm gonna apologise. Badly playing an instrument, very passively aggressively. Colleen, we can all just go. Apparently we all can't. But the point I'm trying to make here, and let's switch back to the good audio, is strumming a banjo, not a banjo, but they're basically the same thing. Doing this That's not making your point any better. Whipping out the ukulele, it's not going to help your case here. It's just going to make me progressively more angry. I feel like this is the most angry I have been in this entire video, and maybe it's because this video is getting particularly long, but I'm sorry. Playing guitar like this isn't going to score me any points. If I was doing the whole video playing guitar like this, it's not going to help me in any way. But yeah, obviously she's complaining about manipulation here, and honestly, I completely agree. Colleen, you are an extremely manipulative person, and that's only proven in the fact that when you have to do your dirty work, you manipulate your fans into doing it for you. We had an entire hour-and-a-half section in this video to do with a fan who literally was manipulated by you for years into doing your dirty work, to the point of where they were slandering a teenager on the internet for saying that they felt weird about getting sent underwear by a 30-year-old YouTuber. You manipulated this person so badly that they came onto the internet and victim blamed that kid. Now obviously they should also take responsibility for their actions, but that doesn't change the fact that you were DMing them, quite clearly manipulating them, and that is obviously just sick. But this apology video in itself is pure and utter manipulation. Instead of actually giving a well thought out, coherent response video where she individually goes through every single point and an aspect of them and breaks them down and explains her reasonings and how she did wrong here and maybe did right somewhere else, instead of doing that, she's doing a little sing-song and making it into a little bit of a joke because she knows that she can't go through every single point because she doesn't have a response which will make her look good in the eyes of the public. And that's all Colleen cares about. She, for years, as we've discovered throughout this video, cares about the narrative. She doesn't care how she has to get there. If it's lying and manipulating to get there, she will do it. But in this situation, she has put herself into a corner where there really is no way out. So instead, she's going down this memey, fun, jokey route of, oh, I could badly play an instrument. And apparently she thinks that's going to convince us that she isn't a bad person. But also, like all people out there love to do when they're getting called out for things, instead of actually responding to it in a normal, sane way, they like to use the whole word of harassment. And firstly, I understand that she probably has been harassed in some aspects, but a lot of people, when they are getting called out for something very fairly, always take a few bad eggs and kind of paint this massive picture of those bad eggs are absolutely everybody. When the reality is I don't want you guys to harass anybody. I want you guys to just take in the information, build an opinion for yourself, and go about your day. And I think that's the fair way to do it. The idea of harassment existing doesn't mean that you are now completely void of any forms of criticism, but obviously Colleen doesn't really agree with that.
Manipulation station, toxic gossip train, tie me to the tracks and harass me for my past, cause rumors look like facts. If you don't mind the gaps, I won't survive in the crash, but hey, at least you're having fun.
You're not being harassed, you're being held accountable. And calling something your past doesn't vindicate everything in your past. And yeah, Colleen also says that her team have strongly advised against saying anything, but she's going to do it anyway. And you know what, Colleen? I think these advisors, if they actually exist, which they probably don't, would probably bang on the money. Because look at this, Colleen. What are you doing? This is the biggest form of self-destruction I have ever seen. And obviously, the phrase is going to be reiterated. I can't speak English. It's going to be reiterated again. It only gets worse.
Hi, everyone. I've been wanting to come online and talk to you about a few things. Even though my team has strongly advised me to not say what I want to say, I recently realized that they never said that I couldn't sing what I want to say. So here I am, and today I only want to talk about the facts. So I hope that you'll be willing to listen.
Colleen, just put down the guitar. Put down the guitar! If you want me to listen, I will, but just don't subject me to this musical torture. I feel like this is something that they would play to a Victorian child when they're not working to a satisfactory rate in the factories in the 1890s. This is disturbing. Stop, please. I don't know if you guys know how much I truly hate the ukulele as an instrument, but my God, just ban it. Just ban it. And any influencer that uses this instrument needs to be deplatformed. I don't care about a slippery slope. We just need to get rid of it, alright? I'm tired of seeing it. I'm tired of hearing it. Just get rid of it. But obviously, no. Colleen, she doesn't put down the instrument, and in fact, she goes on to play it for like another 9 minutes. And musically, it gets worse, but also in terms of excuses, it gets worse because she starts to go into her reasonings to her messaging fans.
Here we go. Many years ago, I used to message my fans, but not in a creepy way like a lot of you are trying to suggest. It was more of a loser kind of way.
Colleen, is messaging your young child audience this stuff not creepy to you? Because if this isn't creepy, what is? And yeah, again, no apologies, absolutely nothing. It's just a load of excuses, and sometimes excuses can be good or somewhat reasonable, but this isn't reasonable. She's just trying to redefine all of our very definitions of what something is when something is described as creepy. In my personal opinion, and I think in general most people's personal opinion, when you are a 33 YouTuber messaging your 14 to 17-year-old fans, are you a virgin? Pics, favorite position, that's usually seen as creepy by a regular human being. But I think the problem is with Colleen is she has been in this, actually no, I'm not even going to say she's been in the social media world for so long, because I know plenty of influencers who have been in this industry for 10 plus years and they have never messaged a child fan once. And I know that might be surprising to hear that a YouTuber from the OG days hasn't messaged kids, but trust me, a few of them haven't. After this, Colleen then goes on to give even further reasonings to why she was messaging fans, and the excuse she gives here is it felt like a family gathering.
I was just trying to be besties with everybody. It's kind of like when you go to like a family gathering, you know, and there's a weird aunt there, keeps coming up to you and going like, "Hey girl, what's the tea?" And you're like, "Ugh." That was me, but in group chats with my fans. It was weird. I've been sharing my life online for over 15 years. I've poured my heart out to you, and because of that I feel like I'm talking to my friends, but in the beginning of my career, I didn't really understand that maybe there should be some boundaries there.
As I said previously, when it comes to excuses, there can sometimes be an excuse which doesn't necessarily justify actions, but it can kind of give you an understanding of the headspace somebody was in at that point of time. And with what Colleen is saying here, I could say, sure, yes, I can understand what you're saying here. But the problem is, Colleen, you didn't leave the Weenies chat years ago. You left it like a week ago. You were in it the whole time. Even if it was inactive, you were still in there. And you only left it when the controversy started to get a little bit heated again. So based on what you're saying here, I can only take it as complete and utter bollocks, because, I mean, what else is this? It is just complete and utter bollocks. But also, I just need to say, you should not need much life experience to understand that, hey, messaging your child fans when you're 33 or 30 years old is probably not a good thing. Like, honestly, I'm getting really sick and tired of hearing influencers use the excuse of, oh, yeah, I'm sorry for doing that, I should have known better, I probably should have learned, but now I have learned, and now I'm thinking better, I'm thinking more straight, and I understand that it was bad, and I'm just like, mate, no, you should already know this stuff. It doesn't take much life experience to understand that messaging kids when you're an adult, if they're not a family member, it's bad. It doesn't take much experience to learn that, and I'm getting really, really tired of this excuse that everybody should already know, influencer or not. But after this, she only continues to get even more passively aggressive about the whole idea of accountability.
There were times in the DMs when I would overshare details of my life, which was really weird of me. I haven't done that for years, you see, because I changed my behavior and I took accountability. For But that's not very interesting, is it? So let's go on the toxic gossip train. The locomotive's fueled with hateful accusations. The toxic gossip train. Steamroll over someone's reputation. Toxic gossip train. Hop on board but close your eyes, otherwise you'll realize that the train is made of lies, and that person you despise maybe didn't deserve to die, but hey, at least you're having fun.
I'm sorry, but this is just so utterly insane. I just cannot believe that this is a real thing, that she genuinely thought that she would upload onto a YouTube channel, and also probably thought that, oh yeah, yeah, this is going to really convince the internet that I'm the good one in this situation. Colleen, are you okay? Firstly, the word accountability. Colleen seems to be stuck in the mindset, which I think a lot of influencers are stuck in, especially LA influencers, of they think when you say, oh, I'm sorry guys, I'm playing the ukulele, I'm really sorry. They think when they do that, that's the, oh, it's over, get out of jail free. Goodbye everybody, I'm going to go back to making my really unfunny videos. You can continue making your unfunny videos. Nobody's saying you can't. Nobody is saying that Colleen Ballinger cannot continue doing what she is doing. It's not like she's been arrested. It's not like she's being sued. She is just being called a dick. Okay, and a few other things to be fair. But there's been no real legal repercussions. She can still go to the shop. She can still go outdoors. She can do all the things that she was doing before. But her audience are turning on her, and that's why she's upset. She can't handle that publicly she is now seen as a bad person, and that is absolutely damaging her ego. And the thing is with these influencers, they think that when they say sorry, that should be it, the situation's done, they can move on. But in any situation, in any scenario, when you're apologizing to somebody, firstly, those people don't have to accept your apology, but even if they do, that doesn't mean that everything is over. An apology is just the building process of going through and moving away from an entire situation and learning and growing from it. When you're learning and growing, it's not like, oh, I've learned and now I'm good. That's not how it works. I was explaining this earlier in this video, and I can't believe I need to do it again because Colleen hasn't learned 3 years later. But saying I'm taking accountability doesn't mean that you are now going to be vindicated of everything. The only reason you're saying that is because you truly aren't sorry about your actions. If you were, you wouldn't be passive aggressive and lying about things and manipulating your fans in this video. If you really did care, you wouldn't be playing this godforsaken instrument in your video where you passively aggressively sing about the people that are saying very valid things about their experiences with you. And I think the worst part about all of this is we're only 3 minutes into this apology video. There is still 6 minutes to get through, and it gets worse when you go into the next part of this video where she starts to sing about how, despite her views on people not accepting her accountability, she actually agrees that people should be held accountable for their mistakes. Emphasis on the word mistakes here, because she is making it sound like all of those messages were like some form of human error and it was a one-time thing. Again, textbook manipulation. What you did wasn't a mistake. If it was, we wouldn't be on a 3-4 hour video right now.
In all seriousness, I do think it's really important to hold people accountable for their mistakes. You know, we should hope that everyone can learn from their mistakes and grow and change their behavior and be a better person. And this is something that I've always tried to do when I make mistakes, and it's something that I will continue to try to do. What? Oh, you don't care? Oh, okay.
No, we do care, but firstly, your mistakes aren't regular mistakes, but secondly, when you apologize or try to take accountability, you get very angry and upset when people don't want to accept your apology and think, you know what, I don't want to pay attention to this person anymore, I don't want to be a fan of this person anymore because I think they're a bad person. You aren't taking accountability because you cannot accept the criticism being directed at you right now. The whole part of taking accountability is being able to understand why people are criticizing you and being able to accept the fact that you are going to get criticized even after you've apologized, because as I said multiple times, an apology isn't a get out of jail free card. But the manipulation doesn't end there, because of course she brings in a lot of buzzwords into this, such as mob mentality, because yes, the mob have been coming after Colleen, the woke mob, the angry mob, the whatever mob you want to call them, i.e. the people that just think you shouldn't be messaging your child fans. And God, what a controversial opinion that is.
Thought you wanted me to take accountability, but That's not the point of your mob mentality, is it? No. Your goal is to ruin the life of the person you despise while you dramatize your lies and monetize their demise. Yeah. I feel like I can already hear the comments on this video. She's gaslighting, manipulating. Oh, she's a narcissist and a rat. I would never make a mistake like that. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize that all of you are perfect, so please criticize me. Bring out the daggers made from your perfect past and stab me repeatedly in my bony little back.
Colleen, we've all done bad things. We've all said and done regrettable things in our life. It's a thing that human beings all seem to do, but there's one thing that every human being doesn't necessarily do, and I think the majority of human beings don't do this. We don't all go into group chats of children and say, "Are you a virgin?" None of us do that. But the one person that has done that is you. And I think I can understand why people are finding it a bit of a difficult time to forgive something like this. Because for years, Colleen, you have built up trust with these fans. You have built up this reputation, and now that reputation has been exposed for being pretty much the complete opposite of what it actually was. Colleen Ballinger, I'm sorry, mate, but it's going to be a very, very long process for people to forgive this, and I genuinely would be shocked if anybody ever forgived this. The whole response is genuinely utterly pathetic. This is one of the worst responses, if not the worst. In fact, no, it is the worst response because of the instrument that she is playing, and the rest of the response is just pretty much just her ranting about harassment and bullying campaigns and all that good stuff.
Pointed in my shitty little song. I know you wanted me to say that I was 100% in the wrong. Well, I'm sorry. I'm not gonna take that route of admitting to lies and rumors that you made up for clout. Hey everybody, I found someone new to harass. She did some things that I do not like in her past. So everybody gather round, cause we're about to attack. But not based on facts, oh no. Your loaded lethal weapon is your fingers on the keys. You don't need any armor when you can hide behind a screen. So shoot me down quick, hit the click and bam!
Just stop! Just stop playing the stop playing the guitar. Just stop. Please, for the love of God, just stop playing that instrument. You can't even play it properly. Just breathe. Everyone breathe with me. Go to the comment section and tell me you're breathing in and you're breathing out. Because breathing exercises are the only way we're going to get through this. Jesus Christ. I genuinely believe that instrument that she is playing is honestly worse than anything that she has done we've discussed throughout this video. Okay, maybe there are some worse things, but it is definitely a bad thing. Like, honestly, listening to what she was saying there, I don't actually think I took in any words whatsoever. All it is becoming is utter gibberish at this point, and that's the thing with this response. It pretty much just is 10 minutes of her repeating herself while singing in a sing-song, like, child nursery rhyme thing. It's just utterly, just nauseating to listen to, and again, I'll say it for the 50th time, but I'm just shocked that this is a video that actually exists. I genuinely didn't think that human beings could be so utterly stupid, but apparently I get proven wrong every single day. Just why is this a thing? Why does it exist? And Colleen, can you just answer me the question? I'll delete this video. I won't. If you just come into the comment section and say why you made this video, because it just hurts to know that this exists. Like, why? Just why? Then after this, for the next minute, she pretty much starts to rant about the Miranda Sings channel, basically saying that she shouldn't be held responsible for the kids watching the content on the channel, and the parents should be responsible for what their kids are consuming on the internet. And this is a point which, yeah, I would agree with this point if this was a point that more than 6 people are actually making against Colleen. But this is something that she did in her 2020 video. This is textbook manipulation of where she is taking a very minute point which she can score a point on and using it to paint the entire picture of the entire story. Obviously, nobody actually cares if kids are watching Miranda Sings or not. The only person that cares about that is me. I personally don't think any human being should have to consume Miranda Sings content because it's so utterly unfunny and unbearable. Please, for the love of God, just stop. And YouTube, I'm not saying that in a mean way. I'm just saying that as a content critic way. If this was on Rotten Tomatoes, it would probably be rated lower than Ant-Man and the Wasp. It truly is an actual trap. But yeah, this isn't a point which anybody actually cares about, but Colleen is only saying it because if she says, oh yeah, everyone's wrong about this, she'll use it to basically say they're wrong about everything else, which we know isn't the case. But I'm just so dead inside with this apology at this point. It's just shit. And there goes my monetization. But yeah, then after this, she goes on to actually mention something which I spoke about previously in this video.
It doesn't really matter what my intention was, because it seems as though everyone's already decided on that. Let me tell you, it's not very fun to have millions of people all over the world call you the most vile, horrendous, disgusting, life-ruining words that a person can be called, in my opinion. It doesn't matter that these things aren't true. Everyone just believes that you are the type of person who manipulates and abuses children. So I just wanted to say that the only thing I've ever groomed is my 2 Persian cats.
You see, I think I made that joke like 2 hours earlier in this video, and look, Colleen, if you want to join Shane Dawson's thing, don't, please, for the love of God, don't. But that wasn't the thing that we've all been complaining about when it comes to you acting weirdly with animals. No. The thing you did was you killed a dog and bragged about it in a YouTube video, and when you get called out about that, you lied about it in your apology video. That was your inappropriate interaction with animals. But also a big thing to highlight what she said in that video clip there was that she didn't intend to harm people. This is something that she mentioned previously, it's something that we keep going over, but a factor of the matter is you still did these things. You can't change our perspectives on whether something is intended harm or non-intentional harm, because you're only saying this from your personal perspective, which is a biased perspective, which is a perspective which is fueled by ego, when the reality is that when it comes to everybody in general, we see these messages and think that yes, this is a bad thing. Your personal perspective, Colleen Ballinger, does not dictate the moral compass of the world, and sure, you can complain about that all you like, but it doesn't change the fact that you sent these messages and most people regard these messages as immoral and wrong. And Colleen, the social persecution that you're facing right now isn't really any different to the social persecution somebody would face if they were not an influencer. If people knew somebody doing what Colleen has done, messaging kids the type of messages that she has sent them, just becoming friends, begging for slumber parties and speaking to a divorce with kids, most people would socially outcast that person because that is not behavior commonly accepted in society. If you were in a court and your defense was, it wasn't my intention to harm, that won't hold up. And in fact, I think the jury and the judge would probably laugh in your face. Just because you think that your intention wasn't to harm doesn't mean that it didn't harm people, because it clearly did. But I think what the worst part about this is the fact that she just makes some actual outright lies about the things that she's been called out for, in particular the type of messages that she was sending.
I'm not a groomer, I'm just a loser who didn't understand I shouldn't respond to fans, and I'm not a predator even though a lot of you think so, because 5 years ago I made a fart joke.
This is just absolutely insane to me, because if you've watched this video up to this point, you know that this is an absolute lie. In fact, I don't think I've read or seen a message involving farts, but either way, it is an outright lie, and it is something that she did in her 2020 video, where she would lie about a specific thing and just briefly skim over that thing, because she knows the majority of the people in this world do not have the time and just willpower to go look up the stuff that Colleen Ballinger has done. Now, maybe some will, but the average day-to-day person, you know, they've gone to work, they switched on a funny, you know, moist critical video, and they've watched him reacting to it. They don't have the time to go and do the research. And Colleen knows that, and she is going to deploy this tactic as much as she can to get away with some of the things that she has sent to kids. But the reality is, we know what she has sent. We have seen what she has said, and these things are indefensible. And if you are defending them, then hand yourself in, buddy, because you're going to jail. I don't understand the need to lie the amount that she does. I genuinely think that, yeah, she wouldn't get away with it if she just owned up to things, but at least she would come out with this thinking, you know what, in the end, I did own up, and maybe I can take something from that. You can pat yourself on the back, maybe, just maybe, that would be something better better than what she is doing here. But obviously, Colleen Ballinger can't let go of that once perception that she used to have as this funny, quirky YouTuber that everybody liked. She can't let go of that because of her ego, and she will lie and manipulate as much as she can to retain that reputation, even though that it very much isn't a thing anymore. And there are about 3 minutes left of this apology, but honestly, there's nothing more that we can really say. I'd love to react to it, but honestly, it would just be me saying the exact same thing that I've just said previously, and we repeated ourselves quite a lot throughout this video because a lot of the points are quite similar. It's just the situations just happen to have happened over these 3 years, and yeah, repeating yourself is going to happen, but I think here we're just going to have to limit here and say this apology is obviously one of the worst apologies I've ever seen. It's just her gaslighting and manipulating, and even in parts she literally says that, yeah, people are going to say that I'm manipulating and gaslighting you. She said it in like a funny way.
I feel like I can already hear the comments on this video. She's gaslighting, manipulating, oh, she's a narcissist and a rat.
And the only reason she's saying that is because when you hear people like myself saying that, you're going to think, oh, she called it out. Yeah, she called it out because she knows exactly what she's doing. It makes it even worse. If she didn't say that, maybe I could just say that she's a bit delusional. But no, now I'm going to start to think that this woman is actually incredibly manipulative. She has actual plans when it comes to trying to change the narrative, which is obviously failing massively. But this whole apology is genuinely malicious and so grim. But yes, that is the ending of the apology. And as I said, it went absolutely viral. As you can see, it has around 600,000 dislikes now. It has millions upon millions of views. YouTubers have started covering it everywhere. People have started memeing it. Everybody is laughing about how awful of an apology this situation is and how it truly exemplifies most YouTubers that have made an apology. And what I find most interesting about this is when this whole Colleen scandal was originally happening, when it sparked up after KODEE's 2023 video, it was more just like a tight-knit, well-spoken about thing in the drama community and Colleen's community. But because of this apology, well, not apology, but because of whatever this is from Colleen, it is now everywhere. If you go onto social media in the last week of when I've been recording this video, you cannot escape this apology. Everyone is talking about it, and I didn't even know this amount of people know about Colleen. It is absolutely insane to me, and I keep speaking about self-destruction, but this is the biggest example of it in the entire video. She didn't need to do this, and honestly, I think her just remaining silent probably would have benefited her much more. And I think what makes this even more hilarious is the fact that Colleen didn't upload this apology onto her main channel. She sneakily put it onto one of her other channels with less subscribers, probably thinking that, oh yeah, this is probably not going to be viewed by that many people, and nope. It turned out to be one of her most viewed videos in absolutely years. And obviously now she is losing subscribers every single minute. Her fans are turning on her. Everybody is laughing at her. And it truly seems at this point of time, there is absolutely no way back. It is a complete and utter disaster. And with that, we finally actually do move into the aftermath of everything in the Colleen Ballinger scandal situation saga. I feel like this video has been longer than Avatar, so this is just a movie at this point. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, congratulations, pat yourself on the back if you really think it's an achievement. You have finally made it after 3 or even 4 hours, hopefully not 4 hours, you have finally made it to the final chapter of this video. And with everything that we've discussed today, I think what we need to now focus on is what is actually going to happen after everything. Where is Colleen Ballinger now at? And is there really any way back for her? No. No, there isn't. At this point of time, I think this is probably the biggest form of self-destruction I have ever witnessed on YouTube. I'm utterly shocked by everything in this. The fact of the matter is none of this needed to happen, but obviously everything has happened. When she apologized for originally messaging fans, she would be at the same time messaging fans. When she apologized for her actions, she would be at the same time lying and manipulating every fan possible. And that is all all because Colleen Ballinger simply cannot let go of this whole influencer thing. She desperately wants to remain the person who is seen as this wonderful, wholesome, quirky YouTuber. And I think that comes down to years of being surrounded by yes men who tell her she is right no matter what. I think Colleen genuinely over the years has built up this picture in her mind that she is this wonderful person that is always in the right. No matter what the argument, no matter what the points, she is in the right. And that comes from Colleen cultivating an audience of people that say absolutely anything to get in her good books. And I think that has led to the destruction of her career. If Colleen just kept regular friends surrounded by her, then I think they would have actually kept her in check. But obviously, Colleen did not want to do that. Colleen had an ego which made her not want to let go of absolutely anything. Even if that was just simply saying that she was wrong in a situation, she could not do that, and that has led to this self-implosion. And it's genuinely crazy because I thought we saw a big self-implosion last week, but this is just... well, this is just on another level. But I think it all goes back to what I said at the beginning of this video. Whenever a YouTuber is involved in a scandal, whether they're right or wrong, it does not matter what they were exposed for. The only thing that actually matters in the eyes of the public is how the YouTuber or influencer responds, and Colleen did almost break that trend in 2020, but once again, it has been absolutely proven to be true. I think to somewhat conclude this video, all we can really say is, Colleen, I think you need to leave the internet for a bit. I'm not saying you need to be deplatformed. I can't be bothered to go into that argument, although the ukulele makes me think differently. But I'm saying, Colleen, I think you need to take a lot of time off the internet and detox from social media. Based on your response, I think this is genuinely one of the most insane things that I've ever seen, and I don't think that you are thinking rationally at the moment. Please, just take some time off social media and start thinking like a regular human being, because no regular human being thinks that your messages weren't bad. But Colleen, even if you do leave social media, you also need to learn to accept the fact that if you do come back and if you do start creating content again, don't expect everybody to come flooding back with love and support. Sadly, that's, well, no, not sadly, I think fairly, that's how the world works. If you do some bad thing, in particular things that we've discussed today, then I think most people aren't going to be willing to forgive something like that, because in the social norms of this world, what you have done is described as actually quite terrible. And I truly do believe that Colleen has negatively impacted people. I think that her young fans probably were affected by some of the conversations that they had with Colleen in these group chats. I think an adult has genuinely no business befriending children, and I think everybody really does agree with that, other than Colleen, clearly. Now, I know in her video she does say that yes, it was weird what she did, but she is taking accountability, but I think it's so obvious that she isn't. The passive aggressiveness, just everything really does indicate that Colleen Ballinger, over the last few years, is unwilling to learn, change, or grow, despite how many times she will throw those words in your face. I'll end this video by sending a message to some of the fans who have been affected by Colleen, in particular Adam, in this situation of, honestly, I genuinely wish nothing but support and love for you guys. I can't even imagine how stressful a situation like this was. You have to remember, this situation has been ongoing for years now. Somebody like Adam has been dubbed and harassed as a liar for so many years. It is absolutely despicable, and I'm glad that finally there is some level of justice coming, but it doesn't change the fact that this went on for so unbelievably long. What seems like a completely dead story in 2020 ended up being arguably the biggest story in terms of influencer news of 2023, and that's all because Colleen could not think rationally and look past her absolutely massive ego. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, that is finally, and I mean finally, the end of the story. This has been the Colleen Ballinger saga, whatever you want to call it. I don't even know what I'm going to title this video, but I do want to say thank you very much if you have watched this video. Please actually just comment below if you've watched everything, because I really want to know if people are going to sit through this entire monstrosity of a story. I'm sorry that this took so long to get out. It's just, I've been dealing with a lot of personal things in my life, and it's been a very stressful time, but also just in general, thank you. Thank you so much for coming along, watching this video, and also thank you to my editor, Jacket. Please go follow Jacket on Twitter. You don't understand the amount of work that Jacket has put into this video. She has done so much to get this video out. We both have. Like, it's a two-person team, right? We've done our best, and I hope this video has been at least adequate for you all. And also a massive thank you to my researcher Louisa for doing everything as well and helping so much with the research of this video. It's been a wild ride, and all I can say is please, for the love of God, subscribe. Like, if you could do me one thing, it's free content at the end of the day. You can leave if you don't like it. Please subscribe, and most importantly, like this video, because as we've seen, there is a bit of a rabid fan base which may dislike this video, and I would really appreciate it if you helped out by liking and commenting your opinions, or just commenting beans down below, and following my other social medias like my Instagram, inabber, and subscribing to my podcast, The Buddies Podcast, where I will also be speaking about this situation next week. Thanks for coming along. That is the end. Finally, I can work on a video that isn't to do with Colleen Ballinger. Peace out. Have a cracking day, week, whenever you're watching this, and yeah, bye-bye.